So funny, Jared.
I am. I am fucking hysterical. I don't know if you knew this.
You're a hit retard.
I'm a hit retard.
Anyway,
That's so pretty good. Anyway,
anyway,
podcast number 4. Yay, podcast number 4.
yay!
I'm leaving that whole part in. Anyway,
Nobody fapped.
here we are
Worst intro ever.
on the 4th podcast. We've got the same guys that we've had for the last 2. So I've got Aaron, Brandon, and Dylan, our ghost, because
Oh,
we all need to kind of learn what we're doing. So I figure that bringing the same people back a bunch, we'll all learn it, and then we can maybe bring other people in later, and it won't be so bad because we'll know stuff.
Yay, stuff.
Whoopee. Anyway, should probably jump right into it. So this week, Aaron, I guess this will be mostly you, me, and Brandon, is the Payday news again.
mm-hmm.
Because on top of all the fun shit we got before with the Infamy last week, we've also now got our Gauge Weapon Pack 2 and a whole string of new fancy achievements to play with, as well as a bunch of light machine guns and, surprisingly enough, a bunch of knives.
Just stabby stab.
Yeah, I was...
The knives are kind of confusing me. I like the charge.
Well, they're fun, but I was really surprised when they came out because they showed, like, the Gauge Weapon Pack. We'll be dropping this on Wednesday. We'll tell you about the first packages. On Thursday, we'll release it and show you the other packages. And I was like, okay. Wednesday rolls around, rip open these 3 boxes. It's like, you know, RPK, Brenner, and what was the other one? Do we know?
The KSP.
Yeah, so we've got the 3 LMGs. I'm like, oh, this is fucking cool. Like, we knew they were coming. Gold Farm's been dropping hints for quite a while. Bam, here's your LMGs. Good shit, guys. Enjoy those. It's like, sweet. That was completely unexpected. I am very stoked to see that we've got our LMGs now. And then it shows like 2 boxes at the bottom, and they're small. And I was like, okay, so tomorrow they're going to tell us what the sidearms are going to be, and we're going to get like a couple of new pistols. And I'm not going to lie, I got a little excited going, oh my god, what if there's a GL in one of those boxes? Oh, oh man, a grenade launcher would be so cool. Oh,
You're just ready to blow shit up, aren't you?
I'd love them forever. And then it was like, you know, here it is. And I'm like, okay, what are the pistols going to be? Pop these boxes open. I'm like, what the fucking knives? What? You know, so not only do we have the knives, but, you know, bam, here's cloakers and there's a string of new achievements. A bunch of them are for stabbing things that never ever need stabbing.
Yeah. Bulldozers.
Which I think is cool. It kind of forces you to use the knives.
Well, I mean,
Because
I
nobody
guess-
seems
I
to
mean-
use them any.
I guess based on my personal experience, and this is just, you know, I haven't used the knives a lot, but I don't see them being practical, considering that I think that the only way you can get any real effect out of it is by charging it, and that takes a couple seconds. But
well, the big
I-
issue, I think, with stabbing is that the only time I really my melee is in stealth. And the downside is there's a little bit of... I don't think it's a glitch. I think it's intentional. That if you don't yell at a guard, even though you don't have something right away, that you're going to run into a couple issues because you go to melee them, because that's the kind of reset point to get them to surrender. And, Lone?
Yeah.
Buddy?
Watch the breathing.
Sorry.
we don't want a repeat of last night, anyway.
Sorry about that.
Not a problem. But,
Censored.
no, but I mean, you come in, right, and you have to hit them to kind of reset them. But with the knife, you run that whole risk of killing them.
Yeah.
As we put up a video that I'm sure a lot of the regulars will have already seen, because sorry to certain people that weren't there, it was kind of a frustration reason that we went and did it, but we went and did the Dr. Miserable, which is the new achievement on the Overkill version of Big Oil Day 2, where you have to collect every single fucking bag. So you have 12 helicopter passes. It's going to take you a little over an hour to complete, and you have to do it on Overkill. And we went in and we ran into a little issue. We had 1 guard left that we needed to have surrender, and none of us could hit him because everybody either had a knife or an increased melee damage, and we were terrified of murdering him.
Well, I managed to stab it, but he still didn't dom.
Ironically enough, it was the Steve that took him out.
Yeah, he went to go dom, and the other guard ran up and shot him.
Hey, who's this guy? You guys yelling at him? Let me just give him my pistol. Bang, bang.
So that was dicks. But I mean, whatever. We got that out of the way. So the achievement is fun. You guys should go check out the video. It's something that for longtime players of Payday that are getting kind of bored of just constantly doing the same thing. It's a nice change of pace, despite not actually being a new map like I would have enjoyed. But what are we to do?
It definitely gives you an interesting take on, what are you really good at, because you do have to hold out for an hour and you do have to be sparing with your resources, depending on how effective each teammate is at their specific skill. Yep. Fortunately enough, all of us are really good at holding our own. So I
think if we'd brought 2 more ammo bags instead of medical bags, like if we'd had another enforcer instead of mastermind, it would have been easier to do. But the double shout was really, really effective.
Oh yeah. Especially when one went down, he had the other one to get him up, and basically we never had to actually pick each other up. So
yeah, and I mean, most of us went down because we were fucking around. Like I was just roaming.
At about 45 minutes in, we were just fucking off, and it was awesome.
Well, I was just roaming with the locomotive. Like I was using the M308, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, I just don't feel like it, and I was just walking around with a shotgun, killing people.
I got bored. I walked up to a tree near one of the spawns and just kept peeking out from behind it. Like, yeah, it got pretty bad.
Yeah, like, I mean, it got bad enough that I went to fucking jail because I didn't realize I'd been down that many times while just fucking around.
And then
that achievement isn't bad. It's just everybody needs to know what they're doing.
The issue is it's one of those old things. Like, in old school gaming, a lot of the big challenges were something that was going to take you a really long time to pull off. And it's that same thing. It's not necessarily hard. It's just long. And it's so long that it makes it hard because there's so much room for error.
Well, yeah, it's the old, you have so much at risk if you lose. It's not, like modern games, there's so many checkpoints, but I mean...
Yeah, and it's likely...
Mario, you restart from the beginning of the level, right?
Yeah, it's likely that if you were to lose doing this achievement, that you would lose at around the hour mark. Because you've screwed up and run out of ammo, or you're out of medic bags and people are dying, and now you really are backed into a corner. You've got nowhere left to go.
Yeah, we learned that the hard way twice last night. So, well, no, the first time was because we got the right bag at the wrong time. The second time was because we were just not playing well. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was our third attempt at the achievement. It was our first attempt for the day that we actually attempted, because we reset twice today. Because there's a couple of spawns that give you 2 bags that fit the criteria. And when you're regularly doing the mission, I mean, who cares if you wait for the helicopter to come back? But if you're looking to fail, you have to make sure you've got the right one, or you're going to be real mad at 45 minutes when he goes, "Oh man, good job, guys."
Oh man, good job.
Yeah, it was lots of fun though, and some of the other achievements. I mean, Aaron, you weren't around, and either was Brandon, but I did them with John and Medic. And, like, we stacked up and we're doing, you've got to stab 15 heavy SWAT or FBI SWAT to death on overkill in one game. And you had to beat to death with your fists 50 enemies in Nightclub. And we just ran around screaming, "We're going cop fisting, motherfuckers." And we just ran up and down the street beating people to death. We're just fisting things. It was terrible.
We fisted everybody. It was a bloodbath afterwards.
Yeah, like it was lots of fun though. These achievements, I'm happy to see them. They're not that monotonous shit we were getting before, like the Halloween achievements. Get this mask, kill X number of people with this gun, get this mask, get tased this many times, get this mask, help this many people up. It
changes your gameplay. It's not just something you get over time.
Yeah, that's a boring fucking achievement. I like the rats achievements. Don't let people into the house at all, or get all of the bags, bring extra coke and steal it from them, get all the money out of or get at least.
Don't let them on the overpass. Sorts of stuff.
Get 7 bags out of the thing in the end of rats without deactivating any C4. It's like that's actually something you can go do. Now, none of those are particularly hard achievements. I mean, this really wasn't that hard either. It's more enjoyable than what is basically a collection quest for FPS.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of starting to become the trend now. Like, it's, especially with single-player games, it's just, completing the campaign, you gain achievement, or you progress this point, you get an achievement. There's no actual challenges anymore.
Yeah, and I mean...
that's a...
Continue.
No, I'm done.
Oh, okay. But I mean the other big thing, speaking of challenges that we've been laughing at hysterically for a little while, is they've added the cloaker back in. And they gave him a little bit of a rework. Before he just had a glowing, Sam Fisher mask on, and he'd run at you and you'd fuck him. Now he just, if you're not paying attention, he can look a lot like a regular SWAT. I mean, he's got tack gear on, but he's just basically black SWAT. It's when he gets close to you and decides to attack, his lights turn on, he gets really quick. It's hilarious. Just the deaths this guy puts out are the funniest fucking things. Listening
You mean
to
his quotes?
Well, no, him actually killing you.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
when he grabbed you from behind because he spins your camera,
Yeah, that freaked me the shit out.
scared the shit out of Aaron. He climbed up and jumped onto the balcony and murdered him earlier today. That was hilarious. There's lots of fun shit with these guys, but yeah, his quotes, I cannot believe they put in. What was the exact quote, Aaron?
So basically, when the Gauge Weapon Pack 2 came out, obviously the Cloakers came out, and apparently people were getting complaints, and you can tell that these people have never played the first game, Payday the Heist, because, obviously they were in there too, and they were actually tougher. I think
they were harder than Payday 1. I really do.
I think Payday 1, they're harder, they're faster, they don't... The second game, they give you a lot of audio cues, and it's all positional, so you know exactly where they're coming from. Still scares the shit out of me, but still. So they're easier, but the people who have never played Payday 1, who have never experienced Cloakers, they were all bitching and moaning, and they were just spam tweeting Goldfire. It was like, dude, we need nerves. These guys are so fucking hard. And then, so one of the quotes, when a Cloaker knocks your ass down...
Just your ass.
Go to the forums and cry like the little bitch you are.
Exactly. He's just like, go to the forums and cry like the little bitch you are, as he's beating you with his police baton.
It's fucking hilarious. I mean, I haven't heard it in game yet, but it's fucking hilarious.
I'm like,
that they put that in, because that would have been in the patch before they've actually fucked anybody. I heard it once when he beat
Medic.
Huh?
I heard it once when he beat Medic on day 1.
But I mean, it's hilarious, right? Because they put that in, and that obviously was in with the release of the Cloakers, which means that's before anybody's had the opportunity to complain about them. So they knew this was going to happen. And they preemptively told these players to shut the fuck up. And that's hilarious.
Good job, Goldfarb.
Well, the fact that they did it means they play tested it. They know what's in there. They know they're tough. You just have to be aware of them. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
but
and
they're
so
I think it's hilarious.
Easy. And it's not like just they're easier to kill, but they're so much easier to find. I mean, despite the fact what Jared said about 5 minutes ago about them being a little harder to find, to spot, their colors are different. They're wearing like a gray, kind of dark blue camo thing.
Which I can't see.
Which you can't see due to your lighting situation. But
I can't lower my brightness or up my brightness. I can't see them at all. Except that they also do that dumbass shit that we noticed earlier today, where they try and hide from you.
Yeah. And
it's fucking hilarious because all the SWAT come running forward, and you can look up and they'll just be like sitting next to a little bit of cover further on. You're like, well, there you are. Or we were playing earlier and we're in the workout room on Big Oil, and we can hear the audio cue, which is just static that gets progressively louder, so you know kind of where they are if you look around. And I'm spinning my head and I can hear where the noise is coming from. I'm like, where is this fucking guy? And we realized that we had the type of engines where we should probably reset because we don't know which one it is. So I'm like, we're going to reset, we're going to look for him. We ran out to the cars, Medic found one and killed him, and we could still hear the audio cue. And I'm like, where the fuck is he? He's like, oh, he's up there. And we look up, and in the window upstairs, he's got himself plastered like... You know the really shitty, when people try and say that they can dance like an Egyptian, that weird like fucking sideways hieroglyphic thing? He was doing that in the window right above us, just plastered to the window, which is open, and we can fucking see him clear as day, like he's hiding from us.
Yeah, he was awesome. Just like, he like shimmied himself again. He like propped himself against the door. He's like, hey, I'm gonna get you now. It's like just waiting for us to go upstairs and just beat us. And like, dude, you're fucking stupid. And Jared and I just sprayed him down, and then like he fell off the building. It was hilarious.
Yeah, and then we moved on to actually getting the achievement done. But I mean, those are the updates for Payday, and I'm really happy to see. It's been a little while since we've had too many updates for Payday, but I'm happy to see two big updates come at the same time. I mean, Infamy really isn't that big, but it's an introduction to what will be a big system as they fill out that tree. And then they dropped the Gauge Weapon Pack, the Cloakers, all these new achievements. I mean, I'd love to see a new map soon. I really, really would. I'm assuming that they've got somebody working on them in the background. But it's nice to see in 2 weeks' time these big updates. Another reason to play Payday again.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I'd like to see like 2 new maps a month, or I'd say 2 new maps every 6 weeks. That would be a healthy amount of maps.
But I'm still kind of pissed.
There needs to be more variation.
Well, I'm still kind of pissed that they tell us how many maps they're going to drop, and then they give us this list on the Wikipedia of the maps, and we see things like the Cinderella one where they're talking about a multi-day heist, like it was a 5-day heist, assuming it's about, you know, diamonds or crystals or something, and then they give us a look
Ukrainian job.
Well, apparently is what it was. But then they give us a look at a casino. They tell us about a potential like boat heist, and we don't see any of these. These don't exist. They're like, oh, we never said. You know, these were just placeholder names and the real names, so it looks like there's more, and that still drives me nuts even so much later. But I'm happy to at least see that they're updating the game, and I mean, we got GoBank. GoBank really is a terrible fucking map, but at least we got it.
And they have a $5 million plan to support it for the next year and a half. So there has to be something big coming out within the next 10 months.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
go ahead.
I don't really have a whole lot to say about Payday because it's nice what they're doing. Oh, trust me, I'll play it for quite a while, but I'm not seeing, you know, all this amazing output. We're getting new weapons, we're getting new achievements, at least we're getting this stuff, but there's really only so much I can say about them right now when we're not getting those maps that we really, really want.
And I don't think there's much else to talk about content-wise, but Jared, I think you want to tell the viewers about your invitation.
Yeah. So over the last week or so, Vice, from the leader of, what was it, Team Heist?
Team Heist Thugs,
Team Heist
THT.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know what the last word is. You seem to, but yeah, THT. So he made this team. It's basically them and Team Evil Core, kind of the big Payday teams. And he's been moving, so he's been watching more streams opposed to playing as much as he was because he can't in the process of this move. So he's been hanging out in our channel. I used to compete with him a little bit for views when Payday first came out. And he's come to me and he gave me a couple of Payday keys if I want to do a giveaway, you know, for some viewers. Thought that was super cool of him. In fact, he gave some keys away today during our achievement run for Dr. Miserable. And he gets a hold of me and he's like, you know, are you interested at all in joining our Payday team? And I thought about it and we hashed out exactly what the stipulations on that would be. And, you know, I was happy with that deal. I think it's great. I can certainly help his team out. I've seen some of his lower tier members. The viewers they get, the strategies they use, I could probably help these guys out a little bit. I don't mind giving Vice a hand. Payday's fun as shit anyway, and I could certainly use his help with a few things. So, yeah, I joined up with Team Heist, and I've now, you know, proud to be repping their name a little bit when we go out and do things, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that goes forward from here, because it looks like it would probably be lots of fun. The guy seems super nice, so I should have fun hanging out with him. I don't know anything about the other members yet. I mean, I joined today, but yeah, so far it seems very on the up and up, and I'm more than willing to see what I can do to help their team out.
So yeah, congratulations on that, dude. It's definitely a milestone.
Yeah, and it's nice to actually talk with other streamers for once. I mean, I play Payday a lot, I play a lot of other games, but I never really hear from other streamers except for Goldie, Ali, and Bunny, who have all rated me now. But otherwise, like, I don't know any streamers, and even then it was just a raid. I mean, I've exchanged a handful of words with them. I don't talk to streamers, and I probably should more, try and build a little bit of a network to help my channel out, but it's really nice to actually get a chance to hang out and chat with another streamer, especially when it's a streamer that is still ahead of me in followers and views, and, you know, I'm always down to learn more, right?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, so we're really hoping that this kind of helped Jared out, like, getting towards his subscription status on Twitch, so
yep,
that'd be really nice.
But that's all the news I can really think of as far as Payday is concerned.
Yeah. So, on to the next topic. For earlier this week, there's an MMO called EVE Online for people who don't know anything about it or who may have heard about it but have basically no idea. Essentially, it's a space MMO.
Space stock market simulator.
It's a for all intents and purposes, it's a free market simulator. So basic premise: you have three sectors of space. You have high sec, which is like high security, have extremely NPC regulated; low sec, partially regulated, and then you have null sec, which is completely player run. That's where you see a lot of interesting things happen in Eve. Like if you go to certain websites, you'll always see articles and stories about stuff that happens on Eve, and it's really interesting because in nullsec you'll go to different there are galaxies that are run by player-run governments. There are massive conglomerates that go on that do a lot of dealings throughout nullsec, and there's a lot of interesting things. Going back to my point earlier this week, basically there was a huge battle that went on, and basically it was my assumption, just kind of based on the little tidbits that I've read, I think that these were miners that were mining in a certain sector that was owned by another coalition, and basically they were paying protection money to be able to operate in that little area. Basically, these people forgot to pay their protection money, so the other coalition came in with all of their warships, started fucking shit up. The defending coalition asked for assistance, and basically they responded, and essentially it escalated to the point where you had this giant battle. There was 4,000 plus players involved, and there's like probably like 100, maybe 100 plus like Titan class ships. From what I've read, Titan class ships are one of the most expensive and time consuming to obtain ships in the game.
What I'm reading here is that over 8 Titans have been destroyed.
8? No, there's a lot more than that, dude. We're talking 50.
No,
70
Titans
plus.
are massive ships.
No.
Titans are one of the biggest ships in there.
It's the biggest ship.
They cost like $10,000.
Yeah.
Apiece.
Yeah. The article I'm reading it was the early article from IGN before we came out to about 300,000. This is the 200,000 article. It's saying over 8 Titans, the largest ship in EVE Online, have been destroyed, giving the rise to over 1 trillion interstellar credits, the in-game currency of damage. The fight erupted when N3 missed their payment, and CFC and Russian coalition took the station, and like you were saying, they asked for backup from another high-end one that wasn't named here. But we're looking at least 4 massive groups just went insane.
Yeah, so you had one major battle and then like 3 minor skirmishes on the side. And total estimated asset cost, or asset lost, if anything, the damages would probably go up to about 300,000 real US dollars of assets just lost in that battle, which is crazy because that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest amount of money lost in a single event ever. Like the only thing before that was a couple years back, a transport ship was intercepted by a pirate crew, and basically they were able to obtain about $16,000 worth of loot. So, and it's crazy because it's all political. Like this battle was all about politics and just taking and just maintaining power, and it's all because of the power of money. And it's amazing how just metaphorical it is to kind of real life. It's crazy how people would interact with each other given certain situations. I think it's really fascinating to, like, I personally wouldn't play Eve, but I love reading stories about what goes on in Eve all the time. So I think it's fascinating.
Okay. Well, you were talking about that, and this isn't my first, I've never played, I played Eve for like an hour once and said, holy fuck this. And that was when it was becoming new.
The tutorial takes about 9 hours to get through, so.
But basically, this isn't the only big one. One of my favorite, there's a Cracked article for it, I guess I'll link this as well, because I read Cracked a lot. It's the 7 biggest dick moves in the history of online gaming.
I've read that one.
It was the ultimate investment scam on Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is this the one about
That one was amazing.
Is this the one about the guy who started the Intergalactic Bank?
Yeah, he started the
ran it for 4
Intergalactic
years?
Bank, and then he ended up taking everything. What did he do? He assembled himself like a killer fucking titan.
He basically he spent 4 years building up this Intergalactic Bank, became CEO, and then one day walked out the front door, liquidated all of his assets, fired all of his employees, took the lump sum, and made basically one of the most powerful ships in the game, put a giant fucking bounty on his head, and then just killed everybody that tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Just for the lulz.
He walked out,
And he still survived like 36 hours.
All
Like
the
he was
money-
out for a long time.
all the money was 790 billion ISK, about $170,000 in real world money.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And he set a bounty on his own head and chilled.
And nobody knew his real identity or anything either, which is the best part.
Yeah, this guy had a 4-year plan to build a company, just actually make a difference in his sector, and then just fucked everybody over and killed a bunch of people just for the lulz. A 4-year plan that
I don't know if it was
fucked
a plan
everybody
from the
over.
start, though.
Well,
That's the thing.
here's the funny part. It says the ultimate dickery. He posted a 15-minute video bragging about how he got away with it, mocking his loyal employees at the EIB, enemies who failed to stop him, and the suckers who basically paid for a second job, essentially paying for the right to have their money stolen. Understand, he's now officially smarter than every Bond villain put together. He found a way to give an expository monologue without getting killed.
That's awesome.
Eve has some of, if you guys are bored and want to look them up, funniest fucking stories like this. There was another one I was reading about a group of people. I think it's in the same fucking article. It might be in the other Dick article that they wrote, though. Where there was a group of guys that were hired to assassinate the leader of one of the top like guilds, groups, organizations in Eve. And for over a year, they worked at this. They were paid in real-world money.
Mm-hmm.
And they joined into this guild. They slowly gathered positions of power. The one dude ended up as like basically the right-hand man to the leader of this company. Then they murdered him. He ejected from his ship in a little pod. For the shits and giggles, they murdered that pod.
My God.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of political dealings that going on. That was corporate espionage right there. Right there. It was a 1-year plan to infiltrate him into the ranks of that corporation and then just outright murder the CEO of that corporation.
After a year of real-time play, they struck harder than Kaiser Soze in one flashback sceneries played by Fabio. Cracked is hilarious. They killed the CEO, emptied the corpse accounts and hangars, stole everything that wasn't bolted down, and blew up everything that was. Then they killed the CEO again, because Eve is specifically programmed to let you kill people twice. The first time gives you all the EXP and valuable wreckage, but allows the murdered player to escape in a pod. The second does nothing but shouts, "Screw you" with murder, which is admittedly the best way to do that.
This is why I love
awesome.
Eve, just for the fact that you read a lot of stories about this.
That's
Well, and what makes it possible is that it's got a real economy. Like, it actually
Yeah.
translates into real
yeah,
life,
the
and that's
game-
what makes it so powerful.
The game and every single bit of its assets has real market value, and its economy is stable for the fact that all the ISK can be translated into Plex, which translates to real-world money. That right there, because of Plex, everything has a stable market value. And because of that, all these political dealings happen all the time.
This is hilarious, though. They scooped up the virtually vacuum-frozen corpse for delivery to a client who had paid the equivalent of 500 real-world dollars for the hit, which pales to the $16,500, again in real-world money, worth of items they destroyed or stole during the raid.
Yeah. So.
I mean, that is fucking hilarious. I'll never play Eve. I don't have the attention span to look at menus upon menus upon menus to work for years to get to these really awesome moments, but it's still cool that they exist in a virtual world.
Okay, I've got a final count on the first one that we were talking about. It was in Sector B, R5RB. 21-hour fight. 7,548 people involved, scattered among 717 corporations and 55 alliances. The total destroyed. 75 Titans. 74 were in the fight. 1 was on its way. Lose a giant ship on the way to defend. Like, really? Um,
I'm
and then they have
coming,
a
guys.
type speed, but there was 0 of the most powerful, the Leviathans, and then the rest were kind of evenly scattered. 13 super carriers, 12 were in the fight, 1 as it tried to leave. 370 dreadnoughts, which are another fairly powerful ship. 14 in connected skirmishes, as both as both sides attempted to stop the other from bringing reinforcements. 123 carriers, and a lot more smaller ships, and a bajillion drones and fighters.
So, and in less than 24 hours after the battle ended, the developers actually responded. They put in a beacon memorial with a passage, saying like this happened and all that. And it would not surprise me that the surviving corporation went in there, completely blockaded off that site, and then sent in their miners to salvage everything that was there. Like, I would find it hilarious just to read stories of like people, like smaller companies or just random looters who would try to go in and try to loot whatever they can from that, and they just get completely shot down.
But I mean, that's the dream, right? Like, if you've ever looked at sci-fi and space, whether we're talking shows, fucking anime, movies, whatever, it's always about that one fucking jackass rogue with a ship who's gonna slip in behind these assholes and try and rob the the graveyard, and get the fuck out of there without being seen. This is movie magic in video games, people.
But still, it's amazing.
It's possible to do too. I don't know enough about Eve. I haven't played it.
Probably,
I mean, my cousin's huge on it, but
probably very improbable. But I would think it is possible. But I'm pretty sure they had that completely, like, not completely sealed off, but fairly well held tight. Just not letting anybody.
It's a 21-hour fight. I'd imagine it spans quite the distance.
That's just ridiculous, though.
I think it's awesome.
No.
Just watching how people would interact given the situation and the environment.
It's hilarious.
Well, this is all because somebody forgot to pay them.
Yeah,
I don't know if they refused or what.
No, I read it. He was talking to CBS News, and he said it was supposed to be on an auto pay like any real life bill, but either that didn't happen or the money wasn't in the wallet. Everything just escalated out of control from there. That's the James Carl, a member of the pandemic faction, told CBS News. The dust is still settling on the issue. Everyone's just focused right now on fighting to try and regain control of the system.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. It is.
Like, this blowout would last like 3 or 4 weeks before anybody recovers any control for what happened.
I'm pretty sure whoever lost just got a big hit.
This whole thing's hilarious. But like I said, guys, there's lots and lots of things like what I was just talking about, like this battle right here, that you can go look up, and they're hilarious. I highly, highly recommend it. But I think we should probably switch off of Eve. And maybe this is selfish of me because I love them so much, but I want to talk about the news with Microsoft and Gears of War.
Yes.
Your podcast, you can be selfish.
Because I think that is fucking hilarious. So, over this
I'm excited.
Yeah, it obviously happened a while ago, but the news has come out over the last week that Microsoft has purchased the Gears of War franchise from Epic. I don't actually know how much they purchased it for. It may be in one of these articles, but I don't
never say.
See it anywhere.
Look.
It'll probably be quiet as shit, hush hush and all that. But they bought Gears of War. Cliff Bleszinski, who is kind of the face of Gears of War, stated he won't have anything to do with this new project, but he doesn't think the franchise could be in any better hands. Gears of War was as much Rod's baby as it was his. I'm not sure who Rod is off the top of my head because, like I said, Cliff was the face himself. I never really had to look at the rest of the design team because if I wanted any information, this motherfucker was the guy on stage giving it to me.
Rod Ferguson was the director of production.
Oh, it's Rod Ferguson.
Epic's Gears of War.
Yeah, okay, I do know who that is. The interesting thing, though, is they've kind of smuggled it away, but there's a studio open here in Vancouver that... Brandon, do you want to talk about Black Tusk?
Okay, Black Tusk was a studio that opened about a year ago. They hired... they were advertising jobs for anybody with 10 years plus experience in the games industry. They've taken elitists from character modeling from Gears of War that worked on Dead Rising 2 and 3, or sorry, I don't know what I just said, but from Capcom for Gears of War 2, or fuck. From
Did you
Capcom
just say they all worked
for
on Dead Rising? Is that what I just did?
They work for Dead Rising. Yes.
They took a bunch of elite environment modelers from BioWare and other companies, and they've hired them into Black Tusk. And one of my buddies, or one of my old teachers, got hired there, and he is an elitist with a bunch of TV shows. He created like Reboot, Beast Machines, all sorts of stuff, and he's gotten into games the last like 5 or 6 years. He got hired over there, and he couldn't speak anything about his project, but he's been working on this project since September, so for about 6 months now. And he wasn't willing to say anything. He was under non-disclosure for everything, and you hold that. If you don't, you basically get exiled from the game industry.
Yeah.
So he couldn't say anything. But now that this has come out, I think this is the project he's been working on. It's out of Vancouver, which is cool because that's where.
It makes sense that if all this went into Black Tusk, all this information, all these people, up and get thrown into the Black Tusk Studios, everything kind of goes way down in the hush hush, and then all of a sudden we hear that they've bought Gears of War, and it's stating right here that it will be releasing for the Xbox One. It's already in production at Black Tusk Studios in Canada. Microsoft teased this information at E3 2013 in a press conference briefing. It's exclusive to Xbox, and I think what they're probably going to try and do here is they're probably going to try and do that big push. In every Xbox console, there's been a game. Something that's been top of everything that's kind of pulled Microsoft forward and pushed them to winning. In Xbox, the original, the big thing was Halo. Halo came out, everybody fucking loved it. It blew their minds, it was amazing. Halo 2 comes out, you got the Xbox Live thing going on, and that was mind-blowing. Then the 360 comes out, and everyone's like, maybe it'll be Halo! But Gears of War comes out, and it just went nuts. Like, nobody, I don't think, expected Gears of War to be as big as it was. It was just frighteningly large. Anyone who played Xbox, at least locally that I knew and talked to and played with, that was the game they played. Because everybody played Gears of War. You did online, you loved the single player, everyone always talked about it, there was chainsaws on your fucking guns. It was amazing. It was the most fun I had on a new release that I didn't know anything about, that I picked up and went, holy shit. I'm playing the hell out of this for like the next year, 2 years, 3 years.
You're gonna play the hell out of that game. Like I should have gone MLG with you, but
yeah,
that was what we played. We played it all the time. And I don't know, I loved that game, and I'm excited because Black Tusk is basically the best of the best in Vancouver, and Vancouver is a big hub for the game industry.
Yep.
So they the least experience I heard that they hired was 8 years, and that would be like 8 years with an amazing portfolio. So I'm excited to see what comes out of that, and who knows if they're redoing old games or if they're making something new. But I'm assuming it's something new. There's no way they could redo the old ones.
With that team, I would definitely assume. The thing I'm worried about though is Gears of War 2 came out, and I liked the story. I did. I liked the story in 3. I liked the story in all the Gears of War games. I hated what they did with the multiplayer. It got so sluggish and fucking weird, and it was the ranging of it. Like, Gears of War had always been a close game. It was 4v4, it was right in your face, and all of a sudden it goes into, like, other side of the map and mid-range, and I don't know what the fuck they did to it. I fucking hated it. And I'm so scared that they're going to take that model and be like, Gears 2 and 3 did okay, and Judgment was alright, but we'll do this. I want them to take this crew, this amazing fucking crew, give me just an orgasmic storyline, and bring me back into some of the original shit. When this game was hot and new, you've got to get fresh fucking information, fresh gameplay, fresh graphics, fresh everything, to bring us out of the lull that we've been stuck in since the Xbox 360 came out. I mean, unfortunately, Gears is going to be a dull gray shooter, because that's the world that they live in. But I'd like to see them, I want to see what they do with the foliage. I want them to brighten that shit up. I want them to bring this game alive, and I want them to make it something that we never even considered.
And what I really want to see, especially with the new power in the new consoles, I want to see maps change over time. Like, it's kind of tough to explain, but like, I don't know, Call of Duty or Black Ops 2, all their chem strikes, things like that. Like, I'd like to see not massive amounts of change like that one, but like levels of change, like a building can collapse, something like that. And I have a funny feeling we'll see a lot of that. Yeah, well, not necessarily directly destructible, but like, say like 4 minutes in the game, like more passages have opened up. So the beginning of the game, you know the ways or the passages of movement, things like that, but you can change the map depending on
Well, I mean,
either what goes on in the game or time.
Levelution isn't a new thing, but it's definitely becoming a big thing. Call of Duty did it. I found, well, not a lot, but I found a couple of doors you could open and close when playing Ghosts. Black Ops did it severely with, like, the big thing they kept showing in all the footage with the destruction of that skyscraper. Well, that completely changes the map. But
You mean Battlefield?
Battlefield.
Yeah, what was I saying?
Yeah, sorry.
You said,
you said
Black Ops.
Oh, yeah,
No,
I
Battlefield.
meant Battlefield and Call of Duty. I thought for a second I said Battlefront, and I'm like,
Nope, we're good.
Shit. You guys,
Pretty sure it's going to be
Anyways.
Battlefield 3, though.
Yeah, but I mean, Levelution it's not a new thing, but it's definitely becoming a popular thing. I do like to see things change. I like to see things break. I like to see things have that. And we've talked about the fact that I love those things before. Like, we were talking about possibly adding full destructible environments into games and how cool I thought that would be. And everyone started going, oh, but it'll be like Minecraft. Someone will sit there and dig a hole with grenades. Did anybody play Red Faction? Like the original?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I don't know the name of the map. I don't remember it. But it was a box canyon with two bases on either side. And
Blood Gulch?
yeah, it was Blood Gulch. But and they were built into the side of the wall, and you could go up and down. And we played like a lot of CTF and shit on there. I think.
Yeah, I remember that now. I do know what you're talking about.
At the top of the map, there was a cool thing that me and Brandon, a buddy of mine who hasn't been here in quite a while, he's off doing the whole school thing. Ooh, advance yourself.
Ooh.
But there used to be this cool thing we used to do, where that game had destructible environments. There was a cap on the amount of destruction you could do. After a certain, I don't want to say pixel count, but after a certain amount of destruction, you could not break things anymore. And it was an old game, so they obviously had to do this, or you would have just bogged the game down. But we used to do this cool thing. You'd go to the top of the base, and you'd start shooting into the wall with a rocket launcher. And you make a cave system, and you run the cave from one base all the way to the other base. And you come
That's
out
awesome.
from your flag right on top of their flag. And you would come out and just murder them, grab the flag, run back into the tunnel, defend the tunnel, and then run back and keep grabbing it before they could take the tunnel from you and realize what you've done. And it was the coolest shit. Because nobody ever saw this coming. They're like, there's no way they can get there. We'll defend the base. They can't get up. And all of a sudden, bam, they're coming out of the wall next to you, and you're like, oh my god, fuck! Or even in this game, there was a couple of places in different maps where you'd be running down a thing, and you're like, I don't know where the fuck I am. And you just blow a wall open and be like, I'm in a new hallway now. Where's this? And
See, that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun, and that's a really old game. And I understand why they moved away from it then. The hardware could not support those kind of games. Like, I told you, there was a cap on that map, and the cap really wasn't that big. You hit the cap if you built that tunnel wrong going from one base to the other. And it wasn't a very big tunnel. So, with today's graphics, with today's engines and systems, I would love to see something that gave me that again.
I would like to see the similar concept, but I would like to see it actually change the gameplay. Because, yes, Levelution does exist, and I'm assuming it exists in Ghost, right?
Not as much. Like, I was talking about, we joked about Levelution. There was a door I found where you could flick a switch and it would shut the door.
Oh.
I was camping next to it with a shotgun. So I'd flick the switch and the door would open and nobody knew it was there, and I'd step out, shoot them, shut the door again, wait for the door, step out, and then I'd send my dog my bidding.
I know which one you're talking about. The one where the tanker pulls over and you can't see the door.
Yeah,
But you can open it from the inside of the tunnel. Yeah.
It's fucking
Things
great.
like that are kind of cool. And
but-
I don't know.
But what I was getting at is Levelution. I think it's kind of in its infancy. It's a lot of it is just aesthetic changes, like in Battlefield in Battlefield 4, the Shanghai map. Yes, there's Levelution, that massive fucking tower in the center of the map. It goes down, but I mean, it doesn't really. It looks cool, like, you know, you have that center. It's all dusty, you know, and it's, you know, there's a lot of rubble, but it doesn't really change the gameplay. However, there are certain things that can kind of give you an advantage over the other team. Like in that same map on bridges, like one of the biggest pain in the asses, you know, is armored vehicles. If you know, typically there's going to be a situation where one side is not competent enough to counter an armor. So, you know, they put these little vehicle stoppers that'll like pop up, and then it'll basically block, you know, like smaller armored vehicles, and, you know, the only thing that can roll over is a tank. That somewhat alters the gameplay a little bit, And I want to see something more like that done rather than just, big explosions or buildings falling over. And it's really just aesthetics. It's not really gameplay changing.
You know what
So,
was one of my favorite things under this topic when I was younger?
what?
Was Battlefront. Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah. I do
Because
remember that.
there, and it was amazing. It was my favorite. It was the attack and defense missions where you'd go through points and you essentially had to get like to the end of their base and destroy something. And you'd start out like outside of this massive base, and the objective was like to get into the base and open the gate. And they defended, and you get the gate open, and then you go in. It's like, okay, well, there's a shield generator. You got to turn the shield generator off, and the entire map changes every time it moves forward because you're in a different area and everyone has different spawns. So it's like, okay, we get the shield generator down. It's like, all right, now you have to destroy these things to get through to the next area, or you've got to take this cannon, get control of the cannon, bring it in to be able to blow this thing open. And while a lot of it just amounted to destroy A to get through B, it was still amazing because I loved it. The map was always changing. The objective was always changing. Some were easier for the attackers. Some were harder for the attackers. It was just so much fun to play. And with Levelution, it is in its infancy, and I'd like to see it come forward to be, a big thing in gaming. I'd like to see destructible environments. I'd like to see gameplay changing. Like, when that trailer first dropped for Battlefield, when we saw that skyscraper fall, I was watching it with Rick, and I turned and looked at him and went, that's cool, but what are the odds it doesn't do anything? And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I see this shit in game trailers all the time. They'll put in something big, something new, something fancy, and be like, oh, look at this cool thing, and everyone's like, holy shit, you can destroy the skyscraper?
That's
Until
yeah,
they
it's cool,
overplay it.
but I mean,
And then it won't do anything.
It doesn't do anything. It basically just lowered the control point from being way the fuck up to way the fuck down to ground level.
Yeah.
It doesn't change anything.
Like, I mean,
So-
that is cool, but I really wish you'd see that, and, like, when it falls, some other buildings crack and break and tilt, and some other ones maybe fall, or some of them hit other ones, and now two roofs are connected, but they're on an angle, with, like, maybe periodic rock drops between the two buildings, so people could get crushed by rubble.
Right.
Something really cool like that. So now you've changed the level around in a wide area, so things are different, or maybe part of that skyscraper didn't fall. Maybe
Yeah.
it's got like half a building still obstructed,
That would
so
be cool.
maybe you can put a sniper up there, and then that kind of lowers the air control of the area because there's something in the fucking way. And it'd be really cool just to see that. I mean, there's so much you can do when you break something in half.
Unfortunately,
See,
a lot of level designers are just not that creative to implement something like that. So.
It's real hard.
Well, I don't think people are willing to step out. Like, not people, but like AAA studios don't like to step out. They don't like to do something new because they put a lot of money on that line. Because if they want to have it so that, say, Black Ops 2, they did kind of one thing on each map that could kind of be changed, like whether it be the tree knocking over to make an extra path, or like the gas station being blown up to drop the roof to create kind of a barrier. Like, they did have stuff in each map, but it was like one thing, and it was almost like a sample. I have a funny feeling we'll see it come more and more. Like, Battlefield, say, on their next expansion, say they release new maps, they'll try and do 2 or 3 things that could be done, like, versus the Black Ops 1 or whatever, right? And it'll kind of footstep forward. I have a funny feeling it will get to this point, but what I'm really hoping is that the Gears of War brings it really forward. They see the future in this, and I'm thinking that might be what it is, because they've hired a lot of big name people. They've got to do something big to pay off.
It should be interesting, but I've heard this complaint a lot, is that you see indie studios, and they have just the most inventive and new and interesting ideas, but they don't have the money to make it happen. So, they throw out these cool ideas, and then they kind of give you a little bit, do whatever they can, and then they either crash and burn, or all of a sudden they're Mark of the Ninja. And you take a look at those AAA titles you were just talking about. So you get them coming out, and they got millions of dollars behind them, and they don't do anything differently because they know, running under the name Call of Duty or Battlefield, they're going to sell millions of copies anyway. Literally, they could show us nothing about the game, and a fuck ton of people would buy them.
Yeah, I
The
was
problem
really...
is so many people have ideas, and it's kind of tough to find somebody to put money into it because there's so many ideas out there. I'd rather put, like, if as an investor, I would put my money into a AAA studio or something kind of similar, like an indie studio that has had success in the past. I wouldn't put it on a new indie studio just because they have an idea.
Well, that's the thing. I love Kickstarter.
That's kind of the problem.
Yeah, I love Kickstarter, but I don't donate normally to anything on Kickstarter because most of the people on there are new. They're like, hey, we're going to make this really cool game. Check this out. And you're like, wow, that looks really fucking cool. Sure, we'll donate. And then the game comes out and it's shit. And I know Adam was complaining in the first podcast that he thinks it's shit because, you know, they're just taking the money and running. But it's because these guys don't have any experience. And their drive is abysmal because they have the money. I mean, they still want to make the game, but they don't have anything on the line or anything really. It's, you know, we're going. It's not like there's a CEO that everybody hates sitting at the top of the company holding your big bags of money going, make it or fucking don't. You're not getting this unless it's good. They're going, okay, well, you know, what about this? Okay, we'll try this. And, oh, shit, we're in over our heads and we've drowned and floundered and what have we done? Whereas there are a couple
7 Days to Die was a great example of that. I mean, they had this awesome idea of fully destructible environments and crafting systems and all this. And I think they realized they hit a point where they didn't have the back end for it. And it's a fun game. Like, it is, but it really doesn't last very long. I played it for like 8 hours, and I'm bored of it. Like, I probably will never open it again. And I paid $50 when it was the Kickstarter.
Well, I mean, I played it for, I think, 3 hours. And I realized something right away. This game is fun. This game is inventive. You cannot play it alone.
Yeah.
If you don't play with other people, it's shit. And I have it now. I could play it, but I'm going to wait.
Well, and they're patching quite a bit. Like, they are developing on it, which is good to see. And they've gotten greenlighted. They got greenlighted on Steam, so they're moving forward. But I mean, I'd have to see where it is in 6 months. And there's a lot of games like that. Like, I'm not trying to pick on them at all, but
well, no, but then there's another side of the spectrum. Mighty Number 9. Yeah, what was the name? Yeah. But Dylan would stop me here. It's either 9 or 7. I don't remember. I think it's 9. But those are the guys that made Mega Man. Like, that's not a Mega Man spin-off. Those are the guys, the fucking lead designer, the lead artist that made Mega Man are making a Mega Man style game because Capcom didn't give a shit. So they went to Kickstarter. They got funded severely. I think, did they ever reach the point where they were going to release for next gen? I think they did.
I think they did.
Yeah.
Because I think I saw this Kickstarter.
Yeah, so I mean, like, they did very, very well. And that is a Kickstarter that I would back because that is a team that is making a game in the genre that they've made many, many games before. It was a very popular game. It was very, very good. And I would totally, totally back something like that because we know that they're good. They've done it. Here's some screenshots from our artists already. It looks amazing, and they haven't even started production. It's like, wow. Yeah, I will give you money because I know that you know. Whereas you see a guy that's like, we're going to have this really cool game about planes where you can do like planes and wingsuits and jetpacks and you can jump out and latch on other people's planes and rip them out and murder them with knives and it's going to be really, really cool and you can dangle on like rappel lines and shoot at other fucking helicopters and shit. It's going to be really, really awesome. You're like, well, those are innovative. That sounds really cool. Sure, I'll donate you money. And it's like, yeah, it's a guy in his basement who's never touched a fucking computer before. And you're like, well, shit. Fucking little Jimmy Dick Sauce over here ain't going to make shit for us. And that is unfortunate. And a lot of people are getting on Kickstarter because Kickstarter hit its stride. Like, people saw it and went, oh my god, I can have whatever I want. And no one is realizing why these big companies, why these publishers and producers and fucking CEOs exist, is to stop you from making shitty games. Yes, they do get in the way sometimes. We've seen this in the past. EA specifically likes to fuck shit up. But they got these games out for us in the first place.
And at the same time, it's their money on the line. They're the ones that pay for everything to happen. They do have a right to say something.
Yeah, and that makes more sense to go through them than going through, you know, fucking Kickstarter and being like, well, crap, that fucking sucked, didn't it? I mean...
And it's sad because it happens so often, like... It's hard to hold them to what they say because, I mean, when you have an idea too great, you can't really perform it with the amount you ask for, you're screwed. But, it's so disappointing because they promise such great things and they can't deliver. But, I mean, if they ask for the budget for it, I mean, they're not going to get the budget, right?
Yeah, I mean, it'll build.
And especially if you have a groundbreaking idea, nobody's going to fund that because it hasn't been done.
Yeah,
well, and that's just it.
And you can't blame them either. When you're throwing
No,
millions of
no,
dollars
no.
around.
It's an understandable thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't know if it's going to succeed, you don't want to back it.
No, and that's the honest truth right there. Is you don't know, so who the fuck can actually say?
Like, let's say a guy wants to do some out there game that hasn't been thought of. It's new in its field, and goes to EA or Ubisoft or Activision, whoever they go to, and says, "I want to do this," and they go, "Well, nobody's ever done this, so screw you. You're going to get out."
Well,
It's
that's why I
gonna
love
take-
indie studios that can fund themselves, because it's their money on the line. They're gonna think it through real fucking good. Like, that's why Mark of the Ninja, I think, came out so well, is because the guy went to college, he spent 2 years saving up money, and then he opened up a studio, had $80,000 to put onto it, and he did. And he made it perfectly. Like, I'm amazed at how well that game actually did financially. And, I mean, it doesn't happen very often now. Everybody asks other people for money and outside funding. So,
Well, I mean, sometimes sometimes they're not as lucky. Maybe they did go to college, and they know what they're doing. They just don't have the funds available at that point. Like, I
and
understand what
that
you're saying.
happens
Like,
a
if they don't have the
lot.
funds available, then they shouldn't be doing it. But I mean, people are impatient.
Kickstarter's an awesome idea. I love the idea of Kickstarter. The only problem I have with it is that a lot of the time it's not delivered. And that's what I kind of tried to explain earlier is, like, it's tough to try and put a contract in place where they have to deliver on what they promise, because sometimes they promise too large. So how do you hold somebody to something that either didn't get enough funding or had too big of an idea and has to downgrade? Like, it really is tough to try and set in stone kind of what they have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because ideas evolve. I mean, a lot of the ideas on Kickstarter, sadly, are very primitive, and
Well, I mean,
it really is sad.
the other shit that really fucks with things, and it's not that anybody's free to get away with this, is if you look at Nintendo right now, they took a huge gamble on the Wii U. They put in that giant fucking gamepad controller. They did a lot of that kind of shit, and they pushed forward, and it fucking floundered to hell. And I mean, it wasn't obviously just the innovative ideas with going with the basically giving you a DS for your freaking hands while you played your game. And to be honest with you, I like the idea of the Wii U's controller, because a lot of the things are like you're looking at your backpack and your inventory, you look down at the controller away from the screen. That to me looked really, really cool because it gives you that sense of immersion where Zombie U, I never played, I heard it was terrible. But when you're
Played
looting,
terribly.
yeah, like when you're looting something, you look down at your controller. The game doesn't pause. You're looking at your controller to see what's on the corpse. You look up and you're in the process of being eaten. You're like, oh fuck! Like that is a cool, innovative thing to me. But of course, they didn't make it. I mean, they're in a little bit of trouble right now, and it's the same thing. No one is immune from taking what seems like a good idea and crushing you. I mean,
Yeah.
Nintendo's the biggest company I've ever seen start to struggle in the gaming industry. And I mean, there's been lots of big guys to fall, but Nintendo?
Nintendo's
Yeah, and then the game generation, that defined a generation.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's gotten to the point where I was reading the article, and I have it here. It's something else that I'll link at the end, where Nintendo's CEO has slashed his salary to apologize for Wii U sales. He slashed it in half to try and get this, money back in the company to help things out, and that's going to equate to roughly $15 million.
which still means he's getting like $15 million over the next year, but
Yeah, but I mean, $15 million over 6 months. It's going to end December 31st. So it hasn't even started yet, but he's willing to give up half of his salary to try and help his company.
Good for him,
This should be a coup draw.
which is huge. He doesn't have to do that. That's something that he did. I mean, he might have been pressured, but
But he doesn't have to. Like, he was pressured by some people that he should maybe step down, and he told them to fuck themselves. Which
Well,
means...
this should just be a coup de draw for his position.
Well, I don't know so much that replacing him right now will save things. I mean, it'll certainly shake things up and help, but always knocking the head off the snake doesn't necessarily save anything. I'd like to say
I was
that,
gonna say it's kind of hard.
yeah, it's probably not the best things, but the chances are it's the people under him that have fucked the company. Like, directly under him.
Yeah.
The heads of different departments that didn't say anything, didn't do anything that it's got people in trouble. And it's really, really sad to see when a CEO has to give up his money. I mean, it's what we always talk about. If the government was paid like fucking teachers are, shit would get done. But, you know, it's nice to see that he's willing to put this risk forth to give his own money up to try and help things out, to try and get the ball rolling here again. But I mean, I'm also reading this. Mario Kart 8 is coming in May, and a little bit of Nintendo's 2014 strategy. That's something else I'll have a link to as well. But they're basically saying that, you know, Mario Kart 8 coming in May. I mean, that's good for some people. To me, it's Mario Kart. I mean, I played the first few, and they got prettier, but it's still just a track racing game for Mario characters.
But you get to throw shells.
Yippee!
But isn't that just what you want in Mario Kart?
Yeah,
Same
but
thing with Mario Party. I don't play it because it looks nice. I play it because it's fun. It's fun to play with other people. And
yeah, like I said before, Nintendo is the party system. Like, to me, Xbox is the FPS system, Sony is the RPG system, and Nintendo is the party system. People come over, you have a couple of drinks, what the fuck are we doing? All right, 4-player Mario Kart. All right, Smash Bros. All right, Mario Party. All right, the new fucking Super Mario Wii U, and some poor bastard's going to sit on the Wiimote and torture the shit out of us for an hour and a half. Fuck you, Adam.
Oh, yeah, I know that. I know that situation.
Well, we actually did that. We've done it on stream. A lot of people didn't watch it. I think we had like 8 fucking viewers. It was when I was a little bit smaller, but we got Super Mario Brothers for the Wii U, and we sat down. We gave the Wiimote to one of my ex-roommates. Everybody else was just playing the game, and you're supposed to be able to press and put blocks down so people can jump on them and move on in the level and get you little boosts and shit. But he was just doing what I kind of hoped he would do and troll the shit out of people. And he was basically just putting blocks down in front of you or above you so you'd hit them and fall. And he was just killing the shit out of people. And it was hilarious. But that's what I want when I'm had a couple of drinks and I'm hanging out with the guys. Like, let's make people hate the shit out of each other. Here, take this. Here, take this. Here's something that electrocutes things.
We did that in Shrine all the time. That was...
Oh, God, yeah.
Shrine 2, oh my God.
That was a bad playthrough.
Fucking asshole. Just boxes everywhere.
Don't look at me, motherfucker. I couldn't summon boxes. That was Rick.
Oh, that was Rick. Yeah, the prick.
But, yeah, like, they're looking at it, and people have been complaining about the Wii U, going like, what the fuck are you going to do? Maybe you should get rid of the gamepad. And they're like, we don't want to. We're going to improve it. There's no reason for us to trash basically the model behind our new system. And they've talked about Nintendo licensing its characters to other companies. Their franchises will not leave Nintendo, but they may license their characters out for things. So you could see, I don't want to say Mario because they'll probably laugh in your face and charge you too much, but for example, you could see Mario in, like, I don't know, what other style
Last
game.
of Us.
I really doubt it. I was going to say something like maybe Knack or something like that could house a character similar to Mario. I don't know. But if they're going to license some of their characters out, maybe we could see a gritty version of Link in, like, Dragon Age or some shit. I don't know. It'll definitely be interesting to see what they do with this, because if they're licensing their characters out but they don't want their franchises to leave, that's a bad sign. That they've got to do that after so many years of being steadfast on you can't touch our shit, and anybody on fucking YouTube making Nintendo videos has been bitch slapped into the ground. Like, how dare you? Who do you think you are? You don't get to fucking use our shit. Nintendo's been one of the most active people on putting out those YouTube notices to have your videos taken down. And I mean, that's to keep the content theirs. They have to legally, or as far as the courts are concerned, inaction is admittance of, yeah, go for it. It's just really weird to see this coming from Nintendo, because we talk about how their stocks have gone back up, but they still lost quite a bit of money. Way more than this CEO can possibly give back to them in 6 months. But I don't know where they're going to go from here, and it's really weird. I mean, we see how those little companies on Kickstarter flounder, catch fire, and die, but Nintendo having to go back on their big policies just to, you know, keep moving forward is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you guys were arguing about it because we don't really know the facts, but Brandon was thinking they shut down a lot of production on games, and you were saying that they've kicked it up a little bit, but...
Yeah, well, I said it because they've started bringing in a lot of 3DS stuff for their, the Wii U.
Yeah.
I guess to try to generate some revenue.
I think they should stick to handheld. I really, really do. I mean, the Nintendo's like the games we all
And
know and love. I don't imagine they require too much.
now, and speaking of that, they saw something somewhere. I think it was a YouTube video from actually Rooster Teeth talking about what their plans were for the mobile market, and that they said that they aren't going to go out to anybody to for their mobile games. That they're going to do it all themselves.
No, they're not even doing it.
No,
No,
they scrapped the idea.
that's other news. Whoever was posting it, the stuff we were reporting last week about them potentially going mobile, they've decided they're not going mobile. They don't want to. There's a potential that they will place ads and stuff like that on the Play Store for mobile market, but they don't want to put any of their games there. They have no interest in it. They don't know who said that, and they're not doing it. But they're talking about... Yeah, some people were talking about them potentially putting... like mini games, like Mario Party mini games on their phone, and they're going, yeah, we're not really looking at that either. We're looking more to maybe using mobile to sell our 3DSs more. Like we have no interest in giving our games to the phone though. And I was a little bit surprised to read that after so many articles stating the otherwise, and they're like, yeah, like we just didn't have an opinion on it before. Everyone assumed we did, and no.
I think games like Mario Party, I think those would make for excellent social games. Like for stuff that they could put on the Android market, I think those would be excellent games.
See, but the problem is, can they make money selling 3DSs by not putting it on the phone? Will people buy a 3DS to play that sort of thing?
Well,
that's the real question.
Yes, I bought a 2DS entirely to play Pokemon.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like for them, if they make, well, say they were going to sell 20 copies on the phone. If they can sell 3DS, just so somebody can play a game, 3DS. And for every 20 copies they would have sold, it's worth it for them.
Yeah, they're still
they
coming
make more money off of a 3DS than off of a phone app.
And the people that bought that 3DS could potentially buy, like, Zelda or Luigi's Mansion in the future. And just
and people will buy games to make it worth buying the 3DS.
Yeah, and...
That's the thing.
It's really... 7 or 8 games. Well, it's really hard to move into a mobile market when you're already the kings of the handheld market. Your competition is you. You're only hurting yourself. And yeah, like I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. I don't think they're dying and crashing and burning as much as everybody says they are, but they're certainly taking steps to try and push it forward that they're doing really, really well.
I think you're totally right. They should totally just advertise the hell out of handheld gaming again. I used to love handheld gaming, and I don't really think I'd get back into it now. But as a kid, oh my god! I mean, I used to go into the Okanagan every month or so. If I didn't have a handheld game, I would have gone nuts. And I've got a new one like every 2 months.
Well, I mean, they're sitting here talking about it, and you're looking at all this weird shit going on. I'm like, okay, handheld gaming, yippee, whoopoo, what the fuck ever. And I think about it, I'm like, I bought this to play Pokemon. And then I got Legend of Zelda, and I would love to get Luigi's Mansion. And the only reason I'm not playing these games is because I'm a streamer. And I'm more interested in playing a game that I can show to the other people. And I don't have one of the DSs that has that capture capability. Otherwise, I would be. But it's really, really interesting to see this because I thought originally, when they were talking about Smash Bros. Coming out, I thought that they had done the worst possible thing. Because they're releasing the same game for 3DS and Wii U. And they are cross-compatible, and it's the same fucking game. Like, it has the same name. It's Wii U/3DS. It's not like they released a different model. It's that game, and I'm like, why the fuck would they do that? Why would they cross into the handheld market? That just sounds stupid. And now that I look at their company, I'm like, that's what they need to do. They need to go into the handheld market. That needs to be their thing. I mean, the Vita's trying real hard to be the next big thing, but everybody I know in handheld is rocking a DS. And Nintendo's games are not intensive. Like, I was talking about what I thought would be the two most intense Nintendo games, and that's Legend of Zelda and Metroid. And I wanted to see Nintendo fucking advertise to us. That's what I wanted to see. We have been their fans since they were fucking tiny and shitty. And we're all adults now. And I want to see a version of Metroid where people fucking die. And not like, oh my god, you blew up the enemy. I want to see like other
Yeah,
soldiers.
gruesome.
Like I want to see an adult version of these games. I want to see blood and gore. I want to see a guy get like ripped to shreds and you find him like half alive and cut open. You're like, holy shit! And he's like giving you like the status report as he dies, and you're like, oh my god. And I want to see that in Legend of Zelda. I mean, Link will never talk, they've said that, but I'd still like to see a version of the game where you see other people dying, and you see blood, and you see dismemberment, and you see a very adult, dark, and gritty version of these two worlds in an M-rated title on Nintendo. I would buy a Nintendo immediately. I'd go out, I don't care what the fuck I have to sell, I would get a Wii U, I would immediately get these games.
See, I have a serious problem with how YouTube advertising works. Nintendo should be one of the ones that goes to YouTube and advertises. You've got the 14 to 24 market that'll buy your handheld. Like, that's so stupid. Some like they advertise beer and all sorts of shit on there. I'm like, I wouldn't buy a beer because of that. And if Nintendo went on and advertised YouTube ads, they would sell devices. Like,
And
they're not operating properly.
And you're right.
big downers on YouTube too.
And you're right about the demographic. Just there's a reason why there's a lot of those commentary channels that they're so popular with, especially PewDiePie, is because of that demographic. So it would be a smart idea to invest and market in that sector. So
that's what I mean. Like, I'm not talking YouTube specific. I'm just talking marketing. They need to market to the right crowds, and they're not doing anything. I have never seen an ad for it.
Well, Nintendo's been notoriously racist since their inception.
Yeah, that's
Like,
very true.
I'm not even joking. They think that
Oh, no, I'm
everybody
not.
in North America is retarded. Like,
Yeah.
there's some really interesting stories if you look at the history of gaming. Like, Donkey Kong? Do you know why his name is fucking Donkey Kong?
why?
He was supposed to be, like, Angry Kong or, like, Frustrated Kong or something like that. And they thought that the people in North America would be too fucking dumb to understand that. So they
Stubborn
renamed
group.
him Donkey because donkeys are like that, I guess. And they decided that that was going to be his name, so we would get that he's stubborn. Yeah, well, this was supposed to be
How
stubborn.
is that more direct?
It was supposed to be
than
Stubborn
Angry
Gorilla
Kong?
at first.
Yeah, Stubborn Gorilla. So they
Stubborn.
changed it to Donkey Kong because donkeys are stubborn, and that's how we're gonna get it because we're fucking dumb. And it's not the only game that's happened in. If you look this shit up, it is all over Nintendo games. Shit has changed. Your childhood has been built because they thought you were handicapped. They honestly assumed that the white man was the dumbest fucking person on the face of the earth. They didn't just.
And that's stereotypes for the internet.
No,
Like,
But they
I mean, the internet's kind of disproved and proved things, but I mean, that was what they thought, and that was what
they
the
weren't
general
even they
demographic
weren't even
was.
just believing it to the point like, haha, white man dumb, no fucking American so stupid. They actually thought it as fact. They weren't just making fun of people. They thought it as fact enough to risk millions of dollars on it.
I think a lot of it had to do with the video game crash in 1983, because was Atari North American? Are they a North American company?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, basically it was due to the 1983 crash due to Atari
French.
and its they're French. Okay, well, I think ET
Oh wait, no
was
shit. Yeah, you're right. They're founded in California. They were a yeah, they're a subsidiary of a French company.
but essentially there was no quality control, there was no regulation of any kind. So basically, the Atari 2600 was just overflowed with a bunch of crap content and software. So it was basically up to Nintendo to step up, and it wouldn't surprise me if that kind of brought a little bit of that upbringing to that ideology. So like, because they had really tight control, they had tight regulations on what they would license, and that brought out a lot of great games for the Nintendo when it came out to North America. So it wouldn't surprise me if that might have partially been the reason. So
yeah, so they are French. Atari SA is French, but Atari itself is a company made, like it's a subsidiary company that was founded in the United States. And I'm looking at their wiki page, Atari, from the Japanese verb meaning to hit the target.
yeah.
Well, how the whole game industry kind of shaped how the companies treat people. Like you guys all know how what the first actual video game was, right?
Yeah, it was like
was
that
after-
little analog little. I don't even know. It wasn't Pong, obviously, but it was that little. I don't even know what
No,
it
it was
is.
basically Pong. It was basically Pong, but it was made on like a 20 mil, or I think nowadays it would be like 200 million. It was $2 million after World War One, two. It was one of the
Two.
computers that was built for the military. Somebody
Yeah.
literally made it so that they called it tennis, and you had to hit a button at a right time so that the ball bounced back, and then when it got to the other side of the screen, you had to hit the button again.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the first thing, and everything kind of shaped from there. Like that evolved into Pong, obviously, but I mean, I think because of how basic games were, people thought that that's what people wanted. Meanwhile, that was just what the technology allowed. But especially like how Nintendo judged it. I mean, they were first to really ramp up graphics, and
Honestly,
they stuck to traditional model.
Honestly, I think Nintendo just got fucking lucky when they released the Famicom.
I would agree.
To North America, they just got lucky. That's all it was.
Well, that's the start of most companies, right?
Yeah.
Is a shit ton of luck.
So they just got lucky
But they stuck around because they knew how to run a business, but they stuck with how they've run it too long. They didn't evolve any, which is really
it's the
sad.
same thing that we were talking about last week. It's the old people that are holding back a lot of society now with old beliefs. It's the same thing in this company. They're not evolving and upgrading. They're sticking with the same model, assuming that children are the only ones buying their games. They're pushing out all this shit for kids. They're not looking at us, the people that are now in their late teens, fucking early, mid, late 20s, 30-year-olds, shit like that were just playing the shit out of these games when they were a kid, that bought the original fucking Super Mario, that bought fucking Donkey Kong when it first came out, that played all these fucking games and love them. And
you can market games from 12 to 45 now, and you have to include at least a good portion of that market. You can't include 12 to 16. You don't make enough money in that. Parents don't buy their kids enough games. They'll buy 1, 2 a year, maybe.
Yeah, that's just how things are now. Like, when I was younger, Blockbuster was still a really big thing, so that's what we did, right? Like, whenever I knew a game was coming out, I was at Blockbuster the day it released to make sure that I picked it up before it was all fucking gone, and I played game after game after game after game. My mom was pissed that she had to dish out $5 a game. And then when they upped their prices, $10 a game. But she was pissed that she had to throw this money out, because I rented a lot of games. But if I had her buying games, I wouldn't have played a fucking eighth of what I fucking played. Like, it just wouldn't have happened. And that's the thing now, is a lot of these rental places don't fucking exist anymore. I mean, there's mom and pop shops, but the big stores are gone because Netflix fucking killed them, because, all you had left was gaming. No one's doing the whole movie thing anymore.
Well, movies kept the door open. Games, it's really quite sad.
There's a new system coming. I don't remember who the fuck is putting it on. I don't know if anyone here remembers, but it's basically going to be like the Netflix for games.
Are you talking about you talk about cloud gaming, right?
I think so. It must be, because you don't pick them up. It's all online.
Yeah, it's basically it's being run and rendered on a separate machine, and it just streams to your computer, right? To your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, what's it called?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, that is cloud gaming, and there's a difference between playing it on your home computer, because that's what they're trying to make mobile gaming on phones. They're trying to make it a cloud gaming to your PC.
On Live is what it's called. So.
On Live?
Yeah.
Well, fucking PlayStation Now. Holy shit! How are we not talking about that?
Darksiders 2, Sleeping Dogs, Assassin's Creed, Revolution.
I don't want to sign up, bitch. I want information on you. Why did I forget to look you up? Fucking PlayStation Now.
I didn't know that.
Well, okay, this is what I was talking about. Yeah, fuck. It's not the only thing that's doing it, but PlayStation Now is that Gaikai-based video game streaming service. The thing they were talking about before was going to be their online backwards compatibility engine. Turned into like a streaming service for PlayStation, where you're going to be able to get gaming content, mobile devices, TVs, PS3, Vita, PlayStation 4. It was just recently announced. We kind of missed out on this the last few podcasts, but they were doing demo of like Last of Us, God of War Ascension, Puppeteer, Beyond Two Souls, that were playable through PS Now right now on TV, just as a streaming service.
I think it's a great fucking idea, to be honest.
Yeah, it's what the future should be, and it's what we were just talking about. These kids that now cannot play that many games, they're going to need this instead of, you can't go to Blockbuster anymore. But now you can do this, and you can game, and you can play, and you can be a part of these communities, and you can get into these games, and mom and dad aren't going to go fucking broke.
See, from my situation, like you guys play a lot of GTA 5. I would love to play GTA 5, but I'm not willing to shell out money for a 360. I can just get on live and fucking play GTA 5 with you guys. It's fucking awesome. I would love to do that.
Yeah,
See, and that's where I kind of want Steam to get into the console race because of what they've done to PC gaming with their sales. Well, with basically the Steam software. I mean, they have reduced prices of many games, like normal prices. Like indie games are coming out at $15-20 quite often, whereas indie games still used to be $50, and or free. Like, it gives people a way to market, right? But I have a funny feeling that if they got into the console market and pushed those sort of boundaries, all games would come down. And I don't think that it would actually hurt companies. Like it would hurt, say, like EA, because they would sell about the same amount. But a lot of the smaller companies would have a lot more luck because, versus selling, well, you probably sell double the units at half the price. So you have more people playing your game, more people talking about it, but you still make the same amount of money.
Something would tell me with that. Something would tell me that with the Steam model on a console level, there might be some lobbying from Microsoft and Sony kind of on the side to try to prevent that from happening. Something tells me that would happen.
Machine?
So,
well, I don't know if the Steam machine is going to push those though. That's the real question. Are they going to put their Steam software model for PC onto their console? Which
currently right now it's running Linux.
Yeah, ultimately it is, and I think it'll revolutionize pricing on games, pricing and distribution, not necessarily games themselves. But I'm looking forward to seeing what it does in 2 years.
It's really interesting.
I'm interested in a year, to be quite honest.
Well, it's gaming is. I mean, it always grows, right, guys? Like gaming has been growing. I don't want to say at a steady pace. I mean, there's been ups and downs, but we've just hit another peak, or rather, we're aiming at a peak. Because it used to be that we'd come in and we kind of know what's going to happen. We've had the same consoles for fucking years, and they've held PC gaming back because people have released for both, and it's been really fucked up. And now the new consoles come out. So one would assume that, that's your peak. You've hit the new console, so here's all the fun shit that's going to come out at this new awesome plateau before we start to go up again. And then we look at all the shit that's coming out with this. So the new consoles have hit. We're seeing PlayStation Now and streaming services. We're seeing things like the Oculus Rift. Sony's version of that is coming. Steam's got one they're working with the Rift on. All these things are coming out to revolutionize gaming, which is fucking hysterical. Because like 2 years ago, if that, everyone was telling me the same shit. It was, oh my god, gaming is dying. Watch. This is going to be another gaming crash. Look at gaming die. Look at it die. Well, okay, we kind of started going to a little rut. And we're in that rut right now. Like, shit's not looking good for a lot of people. But with all this stuff coming, things have to change.
Yeah.
New jobs have got to open. New revolutionization. Shit is happening. We'll go with that. New revolutions in fucking gaming are coming through. And you're looking at all this new tech. There's going to be all these new jobs, all this new hype, all this new interest. Everything is going to change. I mean, we can quote a year, we can quote 2 years, but to be honest with you, I want to say, when did I start gaming? We'll say like another 15 years, another 20 years. Everything's going to be different. This is going to be more archaic than we think tennis, speaking of the game, and Pong are now. We look at those games, and at their time, they were revolutionary. People are like, holy fuck, you can play stuff on here? That's awesome! Now you're looking at this shit, and we're looking back to like Super Mario, and you're like, man, that was disgusting. On Super Mario 64, like sharp-edged polygons and shit. And just the way shit's moving and the way tech is moving, we're going to look back at where we're at right now, where some games almost look real, and it's going to be like, how did we ever do that?
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that now this generation is ready to kind of absorb that new. Because remember, the technology that we're seeing now. People are debuting with the Oculus Rift. The closest thing we had to that 20 years ago was what the fuck was that
That
called?
Nintendo thing.
The Virtual Boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
People were implementing technologies back then 20 years ago that ultimately failed out. CDs with the Sega Saturn and the Philips CDI, the Oculus Rift like idea with the Virtual Boy. All that fucking failed. The Tiger.com fucking little handheld things before the Game Boy all failed. Well, the only reason the Tiger succeeded is because it was fucking dirt cheapos for the poor. But basically, it was at a time where people were just not ready to handle, to absorb and really assimilate into that kind of technology. Now is the time, and I think it's actually going to work. We're actually going to really progress in the way we perceive video games and how we interact with them. So I think
Well, and everything
this time,
leapfrogs too.
yeah. So
well, I mean,
Like for the Oculus Rift and stuff, there will be a better company that comes and goes, well, we could change this and make it this much better by doing this, which Valve's kind of doing. And
Valve's working.
Yeah, Valve's working with it.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I mean, like, they've jumped in and improved it again, and everything kind of does that now. I mean, things will fail, and then 3 years later, people or like a company will put money into it and go, people are ready for this now. And
but I mean, if somebody came to me right now and said, "Give me $3,000 and I will give you fully functioning VR with games," I would find a way to get $3,000.
Well, okay, put it this way: last year, I put about $400 into games. That was while I was in college. I wasn't making very much. I mean, there was a big amount of money for me to put aside. This year, I spent $5,000 on games,
Yep.
and I put $1,500 into Steam, about $3,000 into mobile, and then about $500 into console. That's not including the hardware. Like, that's not including headsets I bought, things like that. Now I'm an exception, but I mean, I think there's a lot of people that will spend more in the future, and as time goes on, you're also getting a bigger and bigger audience, because those that grew up with games, I think, will play games to some degree or another for most of their life, and you're getting more and more people as they grow up playing, and you're expanding your market. It used to be like a 12 to say 25, and now again you're up to 45, 50. Like,
well, yeah, but
my
I mean,
grandfather plays.
You say that you're the exception, though. But I mean, what do I think I made last year? I make minimum wage, so I probably made like $15,000-$16,000 through last year. What?
You should probably clarify what Canadian minimum wage is.
Oh, we make $10.25 in this particular province.
Woo! Yep. California's
gonna
get that the next couple years.
Well, no, I was only said that. The only reason I say that is because we have a lot of American.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I didn't make that much money at all.
Yeah.
Like, I made fuck all. Like, I barely paid my bills. And besides my bills and food, every penny went into gaming or gaming-related things. Like, I mean, I look at some of my recording stuff, that's still to me for gaming, because I'm using it for gaming. Everything else went into consoles, games, fucking headsets, controllers, hardware, everything. Like, thousands and thousands of dollars that I don't realize went into games. I'll fucking porn you, you sick bastard. I'll get the camera out right now. We'll see who squeals. But, like, what I'm looking at here is I throw all my money at this shit. And I don't feel bad about it at all.
But I bet you 2 years ago you didn't do that.
2 years ago I didn't have that money. Well, actually 2 years ago I did. It was 4 years ago I didn't have that money, and I only didn't do it because I didn't have that money.
Well, but 2 years ago you spent a lot more money on other things, I would think, right? Like, you put a lot of... Nope. All right. But
I might be another exception.
I think the general public is putting more. Cause, like, my coworker was explaining yesterday. She's not a gamer, but she plays games. She enjoys them. She doesn't like it a lot. She was saying she put $800 into gaming this year, and that wasn't including a console or anything. That was just a couple controllers, a few games, and some DLC. And that's what she did. And she doesn't play games. She might play once a week. $800 for once a week is a lot of money. And
I probably put in $300 this past year.
Good
Quite honest.
God.
Dude,
How do you do that?
You want to know how to do that? I chain play. I will buy a game and I will chain play it till I get sick and tired of it, and I go buy a new game.
That's like
And
a week and a half at best.
No, that's about 3 months for me. That's about 3 months for me.
The beginning of this year, I had 20 items in my my Steam list, and now I have. Well, I hit 200 a while ago, so I bought 200 games, say, or
You've also got to understand
150.
that I'm a console gamer at the moment in time.
Well, yeah, but even, I mean, no, I can't see that. When I was primarily a console gamer, besides rentals, like when Blockbuster actually fucking died and I was still playing a little bit of console before I fully went into PC, yeah, I was playing just one game because I don't have the money to do other things.
Exactly.
Like, I know for sure. Say you weren't doing school right now. Say you had a stable job. Say you're making, like, roughly what I am making.
It'd be a lot more. It'd be a lot more.
Well, you would make more than me, but just say you were making what I was making. Like, you would, right now, own a gaming PC.
I would. I definitely would.
You would be playing these games and buying these games, likely with us, because you'd have that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I do think that Brandon's right. I think that it's got a lot of merit that people are spending more money. Obviously, they have to be, because these games are costing a lot more, too.
Yeah, they are.
But, I mean, we're moving forward. People are actually accepting games. Like, I don't want to use this as an example, because it isn't, but I think it's getting there. Is, a couple of years ago, my mom was bitching she hasn't heard from some of her friends in years. Because she's stay-at-home, injured on disability, can't do anything, has been that way for longer than I've been born. And she lost connection with a lot of her friends because she used to play a lot of baseball. That was where she saw most of her friends. They'd go out, they'd play ball all day, and then they'd go for drinks and hang out and go to barbecues and have fun stuff, and it was cool. But she can't do that anymore, and she's lost connection with them. And I was like, why don't you try getting on Facebook? And she flipped her shit. She's like, Facebook is the dumbest fucking thing ever. It's terrible. It ruins people's lives. It's just fucking, it's not for me. It's stupid. And I was like, all right, just making a suggestion. What the fuck ever. I'm going to get my food and go back to my dungeon. And I wandered back in my room. She picked up Facebook, I want to say like 6 months ago. She was using her boyfriend's Facebook account instead of hers. She just got one for herself going a month ago. It was after she got back, so probably not even 30 days ago. We set her up on Facebook. She lives there. She's constantly quoting me on facts from the internet now.
Oh, God.
I'm getting a
Facts, quote unquote.
Facts.
I am getting a plethora of cat pictures daily, alright?
Oh my god.
Like,
Yeah.
I know she's... I don't want to say my mother is balls deep into this. She really... Like, she's full-on into Facebook now. She's had Facebook for less than a month. She's at 111 friends, and that's just her first kind of pass around to people she knows. And she just lives there. Like, every few hours I get a new update. Like, if more than 8 hours goes by and I don't get a new Facebook update from my mom, she's probably dead and I need to check in on her. But that's her now accepting a little bit more of social media and technology, and I feel that a lot of people are doing the same thing with gaming. They looked at gaming as a kid's thing. I'm not getting into that. That's stupid. You're wasting your time. Like, even a few years ago, people talk about it. Girls would be like, my boyfriend's a fucking moron. All he does is play video games. And now it's opening up to the female market. It's opening up to some of the older people. And you're seeing these people that before swore, I will never touch a controller. This is dumb. It's time waster. It's mind melting. And we're going to go right the fuck in. And we're going to start playing these games. And this is fun as shit. And now sometimes I get the girls together on the weekend and we go stomp noobs in Call of Duty, and that's weird to hear. Tell me that isn't a weird sentence.
Yeah.
And that happens. That is a thing now. And I was talking at work the other day with a lady who, Brandon made me laugh hysterically because of you, who just got into The Hobbit, the mobile game. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, she just got into it. And she's like, I've been playing for maybe a week and a half. And she's like, I'm level like 60-something. And I was like,
What the okay.
Yeah, like, I didn't know. I don't know the math on that. I was like, holy shit. She's like, yeah, like I've been doing pretty good. It's a lot of fun. And she got into a rant. It brought tears to my eyes. I was trying not to laugh. Where she's talking about how there's a few people in her like clan or guild or whatever she was talking about that are older. and she can ask them questions and they'll answer. They're obviously older because they're mature. And she's like, but there's a lot of people on there that are like 11 to 14, and they're just, they always get in the little chat box that we've got, and they can't spell, and they've got no grammar, and they're always just yelling at people and like swearing and asking questions that if they just played the game, there's no way they could have possibly missed it. Just
It's quite the irony, isn't it?
watching an almost 70-year-old woman explain to me trolling on the internet was the greatest part of my week.
Did you say 70?
She looked like she was in her late 60s.
That's impressive.
Like, that was hilarious.
And that's what I mean. It's opening up to a bigger and bigger market.
You know,
And
good.
yeah.
Well, I was gonna say is, whenever I got into gaming, it was per a doctor's orders. To be quite honest, I was diagnosed with ADHD. Doctor said get him a gaming console and get him a trampoline.
What?
Gaming console was for hand-eye coordination, and trampoline was to get rid of my energy.
It makes sense.
No, they make sense. But
Oh, I know it sounds funny. It is funny.
sounds hilarious. You're like, get him a console, okay, and a trampoline. What? Are we gonna set the console up by the trampoline, and you can't play unless you're bouncing, you son of a bitch? Try that on my kids when I have them.
Oh my god, just tiny little people with beards. They're the little dwarfs.
Bounce or
I
die.
think it's replacing a lot of TV time. Like, the typical thing to do was go home and watch TV like 5-10 years ago. I think a lot less people are doing that. Like, I hear a lot less about people watching this show or this happened.
They're just watching on
people
Netflix.
still plenty do that.
Well, yeah, maybe, but I talk to a lot of people. I don't watch any TV at all.
Neither do I.
I don't watch any. Like, when people get a hold of me, like, did you see? I didn't. I didn't see it. I didn't even hear about it. That's a show? Like, I knew about Breaking Bad. I didn't give a fuck about it until it ended. Everyone flipped the fuck out, and I'm like, what? They're like, you gotta watch it. It's so amazing. I know the entire last episode almost by heart. I've never seen it. That's how much I've heard about this show. I've never seen it. I don't watch TV. And there's a lot of people like me out there. And a lot of them that I talk to, I'm like, you don't watch TV, like, do you just game? They're like, oh, you know, sometimes when I'm not gaming, I'm on Twitch. Like, Twitch is the new TV. People watch other gamers, and I was getting annoyed because that's what I've started doing, is I try and watch Twitch streams so that I can kind of figure out what I'm doing wrong and what I'm doing right as a streamer. And I don't know if you guys have ever thrown a Twitch stream on late at night, like on TV with volume on. Quality control on audio is not a thing. You'll be watching people and everything is like the same volume. The game, they've kind of laid it out, you know what the volume should be, they're okay, and then someone will get heated, and it is deafening at 5 o'clock in the fucking morning. Somebody starts screaming. And I do this. I know I'm this guy because I've been yelled at about this shit all the goddamn time. But you watch this, and it's like, you get on, and you're watching a game. Like, I came home yesterday. I had to go to my doctor. I had compounded earwax in my ear so heavily that it was pushing on my eardrum, and I was in constant, almost throwing up kind of pain. And I had to pull off a 4-hour shift at work because my boss just got appendicitis, and he's in the hospital. So I had to wait till somebody else could come in after 4 hours. And then I'm like, all right, I gotta go. And the clinic, the walk-in clinic, is closed until Monday. I was like, fuck. So I called up my doctor. I'm like, I have an emergency. I'm in a shit ton of pain. This is what's happened. Can you help me? They're like, we've swapped appointments around. We can slot you in at 4:10. That's 2 hours from then. And I was like, well, fuck. I got a hold of my coworker. I'm like, listen, I need to try and alleviate the pain for a while before I can see my doctor. I'm sorry, you're going to hate working alone, but I'll come back when I'm done. It's probably going to be at like the last hour and a half work, though. And he's like, you know what, whatever, I don't give a shit. I went home, I laid down with a heating pad to make my ear feel better, and I was watching a Legends. I was watching a Heroes of New Earth stream. So I'm watching a Han stream, and I'm watching the guy play, and I've got the volume kind of where I can hear it. I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm watching his gameplay, and I fell asleep.
Oh, man.
So I passed out, and I have an appointment at the doctor's, so it got sketchy when I woke up. I had like 10 minutes to sprint down and get there. But I'm asleep. I got this heating pad on. All I can feel is the heat. I'm in fucking bliss. And I guess the guy got ganked one too many times in mid, and he like, his shit. and all I hear is, "You fucking assholes! Why can nobody fucking cover me?" I shut the fuck up. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, it wasn't
Wow.
watch a TV show and somebody's yelling and it's a little bit louder. There's no audio control on this shit. It was so fucking loud. I bolted upright. Went, fuck! Ow! 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 Because the fucking pain hit me again now that I've repressurized myself.
God damn it.
Fucking shit! What the? Shut the fuck up! Turn the TV off. Ran off to the fucking doctors. But that is people's TV now. And the issue is, it's even the pro channels aren't regulated. Like, the professional gaming channels, people can still scream and break those octaves. But it's the new age thing to do. I just went off on that tangent because I fucking could. I don't know. But the TV's the new thing, right? Like, or Twitch is the new TV.
TV's the new thing.
TV's the new thing. Everybody go buy TV. Get a TV.
Buy this $2.
Get this shit. Get this $2. You gotta get your $2 on, sir. No, but like that's the thing now. People just they get on and they're on YouTube. You're on YouTube. You're on Twitch. Or I know some people that go home, they game, and then they exclusively just watch movies.
I'll do that from time to time.
Yeah, like my coworker does that. He'll get home, he'll have a bite to eat, maybe he'll have a nap, he'll have a shower, and play a little bit of games, and then it'll be like 10 o'clock at night. And he'll just fucking watch... What was his latest one? He watched every single Rambo movie till like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my.
That's a good waste of time right there.
And he's like, oh, fuck. I gotta be up soon for work.
That's a fantastic waste of time.
Rambo all fucking night. And, like, that's just the thing that people do now, is they go online and they watch these. Like, he just, watched them online. That was what he did, and that's the thing. Not as many people are watching TV because they're doing this. And the people that do watch TV in our demographic, most of them don't go, oh shit, the new fucking whatever is out, I'm gonna go onto my TV and watch it.
DVR.
They've recorded it.
Yeah.
Or they're waiting until the season's over and they're watching everything online. Like they just went to Netflix and everything's out.
That's also what I'm doing with Sherlock.
Yeah. I mean, and that makes sense. Because for me, what always drove me nuts as a kid is a show comes out, right?
Yep.
I'm like, oh my god, Friday is the day that fucking my show's out. Yay, oh my god, it's gonna be so cool. And you'd watch it on Friday, and then you'd be so upset because here's a cliffhanger. And guess what, fucker? You don't get to enjoy this show again for another week. Yeah. And
Well, it's funny because I think PVR ruined TV because now you cannot talk about TV in public because somebody is PVR'd it and you can't speak in front of them.
Well, you can speak about it. You just don't get around those people.
Well, the thing is, I used to watch Rooster Teeth's podcast a long time ago. I don't watch it as much anymore because I don't have the time. We've talked about this a lot. I put too much time into work and then stream.
Yeah.
And I was even thinking about maybe doing bonus streams on Saturday or Sunday now. Like Saturday specifically when we do this podcast because the next one is going to be recorded on stream. And I'm thinking if this takes us 2.5 hours to do this and talk to viewers, then I'm looking at like regularly I'd have another 3 hours of stream time, and I'm like, why don't I just stream for 3 hours after the podcast? Like, just play games on Saturdays, get the weekend viewers in.
Yeah.
But it's just the thing now is the DVRs and the Rooster Teeth podcast that we're getting at is I used to watch it, and a lot of times you'd see them get all excited because they watched like Breaking Bad when it first came out.
Or Game of Thrones, or Walking Dead.
Yeah, and I think they were talking about like Suits and stuff like that too. It's like they used to watch these shows, and you'd see them start to get excited, like, "Oh my god, did you see?" Never mind, because they couldn't talk about it on their podcast because they were so popular that they were going to ruin these shows for people. They've started doing spoiler casts.
And those are actually enjoyable if they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and now they get to gush about all their favorite scenes, and they've got a spoiler cast.
Yeah, and when I say if they know what they're talking about, they did a spoiler cast for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And oh my god. As a Doctor Who fan, I honestly wanted to kill Brendan Farmahini. Because he is such a douchebag and has no idea what he's talking about. For that purpose.
But I mean, that's the thing, is that they probably brought him there also for that purpose.
Well, yeah, well, they had Gus there. Gus doesn't watch the show.
Yeah.
And he tweeted about it. He goes, so I watched it, and Brandon was completely wrong. Or something like that.
But I mean, that's the thing, right? If you bring it in, you've got someone who knows and is an expert. You've got someone who's never seen it, and you've got someone who's seen it but doesn't know jack shit. Now, here's the thing. You don't need a devil's advocate. You have an asshole. And
Yeah.
if you have an asshole, you win. Because people
We'll watch it.
will hate assholes, but they love them. Like, if you bring in somebody who is a complete dickhead and doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, people are going to watch for that dickhead. Because they want to be mad at him now. They're
I was
gonna
gonna
be
say it's the love to hate mechanic. It works in everything.
It was a good thing because they got a lot of views on that.
Well, yeah, and I was thinking about that for us. I've noticed our model. I mean, okay, we're getting good reviews from our viewers personally,
Right.
and I still intend to try and get this up on iTunes and all that. But I'm looking at it, and I realize that we have this big glaring fucking thing that we don't do. When we talk about something,
We don't talk about the negative side.
no, we're fucking cordial.
Yeah.
Like, we're too fucking cordial. We'll be talking, and I'll talk for a fucking while, and I'll be like, hey, I've been rambling for quite a while, and nobody else has talked. I'm gonna pause and try and get the ball rolling elsewhere, and two people will talk at the same time. Like, Brandon and Aaron will both talk, and then they'll both pause, and they'll be like, oh, no, you. No. Okay, anyway, what I wanted to say was...
So what you're saying is I should be more of an asshole.
No. I'm saying that...
No, he's saying we should all be.
The cordial, it works.
I am perfectly okay with that.
But the problem is... Well, no, the cordial works, but we never disagree.
Yeah.
Like,
we all have very similar ideas about things. That's the thing.
And it's nice and it works, but the issue is I cannot make fun of Aaron when he's agreeing with me.
Such
Aaron,
bitch.
No, but Aaron, you know people love to see you when you get pissed off. I do it for a reason.
I figured as such. Okay? I figured as such. There's a reason you piss me off every time I come in on stream.
Aaron, I love you to death. You're a great guy. But you get so easily worked up and mad when I just... I don't want to say this, but finger your buttons a little bit. And
I just love the laugh.
but I mean, when I do that, you get all worked up, you get all mad, and that is good TV. And guess what, guys? We are the TV of tomorrow. And
so what you're saying is I'm the drama that people want to see.
Well, it's cool though, because when someone says drama, you get a pretty negative connotation coming to mind, right?
I just think of just conflict. I don't think of it like emotional, like people crying and all that. I just think of conflict.
When I hear drama, I picture kids in high school purposely trying to fuck with other kids to be little fucking shitheads.
Yeah, coming out of high school, that's exactly what I imagine.
Yeah, when I hear drama, that's what I fucking imagine. I haven't been in high school in fucking 5 years. And that's still what I imagine.
Has it changed?
No, that's when I hear drama, that's still the word I hear. I don't picture, like, fucking TV shows and movies and gravity and, ooh, so drama. That's not what I picture. I picture a bunch of little fucking immature shits yelling at each other and trying to fucking make people's lives miserable.
Yep.
And truthfully, though, you are the drama, but you know that we never mean anything in a hateful way.
I figured as such.
You know, if we go truly, truly too far, we will apologize. That we didn't mean to do that. It was just funny as shit for us. I apologize that right now that you are that person. I'm sorry, but it is hilarious. It really, really is to watch you get worked up.
You are not the only person who gets enjoyment out of pissing me off. I will tell you that. You are not the first, nor I'm pretty damn sure you are not going to be the last.
And listen, I only finger the button. The next guy's going to go full-on tongue to you. And you'll love a little bit of it, I'm sure, but... the thing is, like, that's what we need. And the more we think about it is, yeah, Twitch, YouTube, we are the TVs and movies of tomorrow.
Yeah.
People used to go to the theater. I mean, people still go to the theater. I fucking go to the theater.
I just got back from the theater.
Yeah, I love cinematography. I will sit through a movie and, my happy ass will be vibrating just because I get to go see this movie. And that's been the thing for me for a long time. I'm a fucking weirdo. That's why I got into streaming, because I like cinematography. And to me, this is amateur cinematography at its best. And TV? Fuck it. You're right. We've got Netflix now. We've got Twitch, movies, also Netflix, and we have YouTube. You can go watch pre-recorded clips that your friends are all talking about. It's like, hey, did you see that one fucking retard that fucking poked his cat while it was sleeping and it damn near took his goddamn face off when it climbed up his shirt and chased him into the other room? It was hilarious. Oh my god, 30 million views. Funny as shit. People want to see that. I want to see that. Those are the movies now. You get to go tell your friends, man, did you see that one, not movie, but clip? And it's the same fucking thing. And it's like Twitch. Oh my god, there's this really cool guy that streams is the new, holy shit, have you seen this really awesome show called? And it's amazing when you think about that. Because back then, if you want to go see a movie, you want to go to see a TV show, you are seeing A to C-list celebrities who are getting paid shit tons of money to act out fantasy roles. Now you are seeing people that get paid nothing or fuck all to be jagoffs on a microphone or a camera, and it's the greatest thing in the motherfucking world.
Well,
I guess
everything's personally funded. First off, like you buy your own, camera equipment, you put your own time into it, everything. And I mean, you can eventually be paid for it, but I mean, everybody does it because that's what they want to be doing. It's not because you're getting paid or.
No, it's. I think fucking Adam C9er said this the best. He's like, straight up, if you get into this because you want money, you're
gonna have a bad time.
No, you will never make it. Those are his words. You will not make it. If you do this because you think it's fun and it's what you want to do, you'll go far. But if you get into it as a business, you're fucked. That's it. You're done. And I believe him. That's true. You're screwed if you look at this and go, you know how much money I could make if I just...
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot of channels out there that are doing that, and they're making that money.
Cam girls.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's not what I mean. I'm talking specifically into the gaming industry. I'm talking us and what we do.
Yeah.
But their content is just stale.
That's a lot of it, yeah, because they come in as a business. Now, I like to look at what I do from a business standpoint. I don't like to do things if I think it will hurt quote-unquote business. Basically, what I'm saying is if I think my viewers won't like it, it doesn't fuck get done. There's a lot of games I want to play. I don't play because nobody's going to watch them. And when I tell my viewers this, they go, oh, play it, I'll watch it. And I figured last week, I'll do a little bit of a test. Fuck it. It's, Wednesday. I'm like, I'm going to play Donkey Kong Country 2. Because I've had a motherfucking hankering to play Donkey Kong Country 2 for like a year and a half. And I'm like, I'm going to play this fucking game. So I did. And my viewer count went up to where it normally goes. All the regulars kind of filtered in. And slowly filtered out because no one wants to watch this.
That's a shame because I would have loved to watch that.
It was good. I was.
Or got pissy because you didn't play Crash Bandicoot.
Oh yeah, and you guys were like Crash.
Which I'm fine. You didn't play, GTA was a lot of fun.
But then I was like, whatever. And then Matt came in, and he's like, if you want to fucking make it, you got to be playing fucking A-list fucking popular games. Why the fuck are you playing GTA? And I got mad at him because not that the idea was bad. It was very sound, and it's one that I had been thinking of myself. It was because he came in and basically said, what you're doing is fucking stupid. Fuck you. You're dumb. And when I get that from a viewer that I don't know, whatever, dude, your opinion's yours. If I get it from a regular or a mod, and I've said this to certain people before, it fucking sucks because, I care about your opinion a lot more than the average Joe. And I thought about it, and I was like, I'm not so much feeling Donkey Kong anymore. I'm kind of out of it now because of all that. And I'm like, fuck it. You know what actually be really fun right now? I'll play GTA. And it worked out better than I could have possibly imagined because I ended up getting raided by Ali, and I got 100 followers out of it. So, yay, that was awesome. And I got to meet a bunch of really cool new people, and there's people on my channel right now. Well, not right now, but people on Monday. Well, fuck, they might be there. I don't know who watches. But there's people that have been coming back since that raid that legitimately want to hang out and watch me, and that seems to happen every time I get a nice big raid. When I got the one in GTA, Matt himself showed up when I got raided by Goldie, and he hangs out. And while the kid can be a colossal pain in my motherfucking dick hole, he's still a really cool guy. He's a nice viewer to have, and I enjoy having him around. And I give a fuck about his opinion, as was seen on Wednesday, despite he can be a real pain in my ass. And it's just, you can't get away with doing whatever the fuck you want on Twitch. You can do it.
Good.
Yeah, you can do it, but it's much like in TV. In TV, you can't just make a show about whatever the fuck you want and then do whatever the fuck you want, even if it doesn't make sense to your previous episode. I mean, you can't have a show about a bunch of people living in an apartment together with conflicting personalities and then immediately change it into a vampire drama just because you thought that'd be cool. That doesn't make any sense. You can't do that.
Although I would have watched that.
Dude, you just gave me an idea for a new TV show.
I would watch
Vampire
that.
comes in and
I
fights
would be
3
the
people.
producer of a TV show that completely changes the format halfway into the season.
No, every episode completely
Every
changes the format. In the next episode, they've murdered all the vampires, and now they're fucking...
Zombies.
They're zombies, or they
And
turn
the
into
next
crypt
episode, the
keepers
werewolf.
after that for a few episodes. And then there's a spin-off where they meet a werewolf and go on a wild adventure in a strange hippie van.
And then
So
that
wait,
hippie
you're
van became a
talking
torrent.
about Scooby-Doo?
Yeah, Scooby-Doo is a werewolf. Did no one know this?
Sounds like Twilight.
Think about it. Scooby-Doo is a werewolf.
Hey, man.
He's a talking dog. Who's used to be friends with a hippie. Anyway, but it's the same thing. You can't do whatever the fuck you want in Twitch. You have to have a format. And I'm not saying you've got to be the FPS guy and only play FPS, but you do have to play what people want to see. And that being said, if you're a Battlefield player and you're a high-level Battlefield streamer and Titanfall drops and you don't play Titanfall, you're losing out on a lot of viewers.
That was pretty much my downfall. It's just I didn't keep up with what was coming out, and I didn't want to. And then it basically just got to the point where I said, fuck it, I'll do this for fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's purely for fun. And so I learned my lesson, and ultimately that's something I know I'm not willing to invest in to just try to keep up with all the new games. And I've accepted that, so whatever.
And you basically have to, right?
Yeah, you have to.
But the other thing is I start looking at different things coming out, and I have to keep on top of them if I want to be a part of the Twitch community. And once again, we're going to keep going back to the TV analogy, is if you're not consistent, if you're not on in your time slot when people want to watch you, you're fucked. I mean, there are some people that stream once or twice a week, but they usually stream the same time. Like, I know a guy locally who met me at my store, and he was talking about how he got into streaming, and it was kind of cool, and I mentioned that, I'm a streamer too, and I told him that I have to edit a lot of videos. And he's like, oh, like, that's cool. Is there any chance you want to do that, to make money on the side? And then something came up, and he left, and he came back to, ask me again. He's like, is there any chance I could hire you to edit video for me? And I'm like, dude, I don't have the time. And I explained to him my streaming schedule, and I explained to him what I do. And he's like, holy shit, like, I only stream 1 day a week. And I'm like, do you stream the same day every week? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, then if you get popular, you can get popular. I think he streams, it's either Saturday or Sunday. He streams a Flash game, but he's the only one that streams it. It's got a decent community. So, I mean, I wish him the best. But at the same time, that's what you've got to do. You've always got to be on. I don't have to stream 5 days a week. I could stream 1 or 2, so long as I'm always on at the same time. People will know. That's when he's there. That's when I want to watch him. If you break that, people are like, oh man, my favorite show's on now. Where the fuck is my show? And you can only do that so many times before they're like, I don't give a fuck anymore. What was my favorite show? It's a piece of shit. And that's the honest truth. And it's sad, but yeah, that's how it's going to be.
It's to the point where, especially on Twitch or any kind of service like that, if you have a schedule and you go against that schedule, as much as the internet is used to getting what it wants when it wants it, it's not gonna end well for you.
I can attest that it's really hard to bring yourself back to. Like when I was streaming this summer, back when most people weren't in school, I had a lot more viewers. I mean, I had what I roughly have now. I've brought myself back up. But, I mean, they weren't in school, so they were always able to be there. They were always on. It was good. And as I moved into September, I saw a big decline because people went back to school, and I still got them back. I started to get more viewers, and then my internet died. I was out for about a week. Because I wasn't there for my assigned slots, and I hadn't said that I was going away, I just kind of clutched and went, oh shit, it's broken, I'm sorry. I went from having 30, 40 viewers to having like 8 again. And then I got a couple of messages from people going, you're not playing the games I want to see, you're not on when you normally are, and like they've moved on. People are used to the familiarity of going to a certain place as well. So I wasn't there, they found other channels to fill that gap. And those channels are still there, and they're still in those channels. I mean, I've got quite a few of those people back because those channels have slipped up and they've seen that I'm back where I was and they've come to visit and been like, holy shit! What happened to your cam? Like, there's light and I can't see the background and you've got this really cool thing on Fridays where you've got this like community set up with the fucking chat and shit. Like that's really cool. Like what the fuck's going on? And these people have come back and I've got them to stay, and it's really cool. But it's definitely an interesting thing. Exactly what it takes to become a Twitch streamer, and I mean we all know that I'm on that timeline. But if I actually make it to sub status, I want to write an article about everything I know from A to B and how I got there, and just put it out there, because more people, if they've got the drive and the commitment, need to be doing this. I mean, we talked about the 5,100 or so substatus channels right now on Twitch. I would still like to see what would happen if more people were interested and had the information that I've now gathered. Because I know there's a lot of people that have made it that have probably written similar things, but I haven't seen any of them. They're out there. They have to be. But a lot of these guys don't talk about it, and I've noticed a lot of people like to hoard what they've gathered. There's a lot of high-level streamers that don't tell any information because they don't want any more competition.
That's
Well,
stupid.
people see it as competition, but it's a community. It really is. I mean, the more people you get in here, the more people you have watching.
It's the very reason I joined Team Heist. Obviously, I only have to do with them during Payday. I mean, Payday is one of my biggest games, if not my biggest game. I only have to do with them with Payday. But I've seen Vice rise himself. I mean, not from the beginning. I've only seen him since Payday 2 came out. But I've seen Vice rise himself. And if he's willing to go forward, I would like to go with him to be able to help build in the community, to be able to help him and his team, and to be able to have them help me. And I'm not seeing them as competition. I used to. When I first started streaming, I saw my friends as competition. I have a few friends that have tried to get into it themselves. No one's locally doing as well as I am, but they're trying, and I am willing my best now to help them. Because I don't see them as competition. I don't see them as threats, even if they are. I see them as a community, as someone who can help me, and I can help them. If they take some of my viewers, it's because they did a better job than I did, and I don't deserve to have those viewers when they're over there. Because these guys are giving the entertainment. And if I can give the entertainment, and I can give the viewers, I can make it. I don't need to be a Kriparian with fucking 30,000 people watching me. The man does wonders. I love watching him. But I don't need to be that guy. If I'm not good enough on my own, if I'm not good enough in a group, I need to accept that. But I need to know that this is a community. This is something I have to build for everybody else. And that, I think, should be the same for every streamer. You've got to know that if Twitch flounders, you die. And
Yeah,
Twitch is growing, but you're literally latched on to a bigger entity, whether you realize it or not.
Well, the cool thing with being part of a community like that, too, is people can change. You know, if they get bored of you, they can switch over to, say, Vice and, come back in 2 weeks when they're back on.
And vice versa. I could see Vice's viewers being like, Vice is cool, I enjoy watching him, and then they see me and they're like, I enjoy watching this guy. And they don't have to be exclusive to a channel. I mean, that's the awesome thing. It's not like you're locked into somebody's personal army, and if you go elsewhere, you're never allowed back. You can watch me and him at the same time. You can watch me and Crip at the same time. You can watch Crip and Vice at the same time. Like, I mean, these are completely different games, different genres that they play, but it's the thing. You can watch whoever the fuck you want. You can do dual streams. You can go wherever you want. It's that freedom. And anybody who thinks that the other streamers are out to get them, you're not going to make it.
Well, I wouldn't say it's going to fail, but they're setting themselves back.
Yeah, you're only hurting yourself.
Like, I'm subscribed to a guy right now on Twitch. And it's got to the point, like, he's still a funny guy, and I will still watch him. But it's gotten to the point where it's just kind of gotten to where I need to get away, kind of thing, where it's gotten stale. And so I go to Jared's stream, I go to another stream, and it's enjoyable. And I can go back to him whenever I'm just kind of feeling like he's gonna be funny again.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes perfect sense. We've been rambling about the whole Twitch thing for quite a while.
On other news, the whole incident with Dean Rocket and Jay-Z.
Oh, I was just gonna touch that Jay-Z's lawyers were trying to get a hold of the creator of DayZ and have the name changed to Z-Day because they thought it sounded too familiar.
That's fucking stupid.
Too close to each other. which is fucking hilarious. Obviously, that's not going to work, but
I think it's just a money grab thing. I do
no.
not think that it was a serious infringement.
But
like,
here's the interesting thing.
It was, anyways.
We don't know if Jay-Z put this forward. It could just been his lawyers.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. Like, it's hilarious, and I guess it'll just be kind of like an ending note. But we're over 2 hours again, guys.
Yeah.
We're at 2:03. So what I was going to ask is if any of you, obviously Aaron did the Jay-Z thing, which is hilarious. Yeah. But do you guys have any closing thing you want to talk about or anything you want to say? Especially you, because you've been out of the loop for like the first quite a bit of what we were talking about.
Kind of wanted to touch on the whole cinematography thing.
The which thing?
With the cinematography.
Oh yeah.
With Hobbit.
Yeah, now that you've gone and seen it.
Yep, finally. I regret waiting this long. But I was talking about this with the guys earlier. There's a scene where they're going down a set of rapids, and I mean, this is not very much spoilers. It's just
it was literally in all of the trailers.
Yeah, there's a scene where they're going down rapids, and they're doing a lot of wide sweeping shots and very close-ups on the faces, and then they switch to a GoPro, which at first you don't notice it's a GoPro if you've never seen one, but the film quality is a lot different.
Yeah.
And I understand why they did it. I do. It just kind of bothered me because
I talked about that outside of the podcast. Is their cameras were tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. Some of them are, hundreds of thousands of dollars for the camera, and they're getting all these nice shots, but they can't risk those cameras when they're literally in a river.
Yeah.
So they switched to GoPros, which was an interesting tactic. They tried to counter this by giving you a lot of water. So there was a lot of splashing. There was a lot of quick motion anyway. So they were trying to... I mean, they were pushing these cameras so they're close to their maximum. I mean, GoPros are designed to be thrown out of fucking planes.
Yeah.
But they pushed these cameras as far as they could push them to try and degrade the actual footage anyway, so that you couldn't really notice that the cameras were weaker.
Yeah. I mean, it's if you've never seen a GoPro, I'm sure you have, but if you've never noticed like seeing the difference between film of an actual camera and a GoPro camera, it's a major difference. But if you've never seen it, you would just think it was just a different lens or something like that.
Yeah.
So to the NC-59, it would probably just look differently, a little different, but it's just kind of just like they wanted to go. I won't say cheap because I mean that movie's nowhere near cheap. As much as as many people they've got on it that are well known.
Yeah.
It's just
come from bitch.
See, but at the same time, I'd almost contest that it's evolving. Because how else would you get that shot, right?
Well, back in the day, you wouldn't.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you really wouldn't have it. I mean,
I'm okay with why they got it. It's just the process of what they went about.
Well, but how else would they be able to do it? Like, that's a shot that they can now get where previously they wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, they technically could have got it on their really nice cameras. It just would have been an incredible risk. It may have been a lot slower. Like, they would have physically had someone, like, holding the barrels for all those shots and actually down in the water.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably did it anyway, but they would have had to hold them, the barrel, and the shroud. You wouldn't have got a realistic bob to it. It would have seemed studio. It probably would have been done in studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, you can't take shots like that. Whereas, I don't know. I like seeing people do new things like that. And the fact that you didn't really notice in the movie I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really say.
Well, I didn't. I knew it was there afterwards because we were talking about it, but at the time, I was so engrossed in the action because it's a very high-octane scene.
Yeah, well, yeah.
See, and that is like, if you noticed, yeah, no, it's terrible idea if you can tell. But I mean, the fact that you don't notice at all, that doesn't bother me. Everybody has entitled to opinion.
At that point, I was, you're very far into that movie, and you've been sitting a while. And if you hadn't gotten up to go take a piss or anything like that, you're probably noticing things a little bit more because you're just so kind of out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't affect me at all. I mean, obviously, if it affected you, there are people out there that noticed. But yeah.
But I mean, if it's just a small number, I'm fine with it. You know, it's still a fantastic movie. It's still a fantastic storyline, and I'm pissed at the ending. But you know,
Yeah, it was. For those who haven't seen it, we're not going to give any spoilers away, but it was literally the worst cliffhanger I've ever seen. They
Yep.
didn't even have the writing in it to end somewhere and be like, okay, here's a plateau. Obviously, they've accomplished one goal, and they still have goals, so we'll put that in the next movie. It was in the middle of the action. In the middle of the action, they kind of swept over to the side a little bit and went, cliffhanger. It's like,
and the friend I went to go see it with said it perfectly. He almost wanted to throw a temper tantrum the first time he saw it.
yeah, it was. I started laughing because I knew how outraged people would be around me. So as soon as it cut to black and started rolling the credits, I just started howling, and all I could hear in the theater was people going, "What the fuck?" And I was just laughing hysterically.
See, I felt like Catching Fire even did the same thing.
Well, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't see it. I haven't. I'm waiting. Same thing.
Well, what I'll say is that like they literally did the same thing. They went from intense action, did a little bit of explaining, and then cut it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, I mean, they're both second movies in a trilogy, so they've got to set things up.
Well, the thing about The Hobbit, though, is it's not.
No, it's a book.
It's one single book.
Yeah.
And what I had always assumed that they were going to do when I heard about it, because it was originally going to be 2 movies, and they split it into 3 because the production costs were so fucking high that they needed to.
Mm.
But originally what I assumed, because the story breaks down into arcs. So when I heard it was going to be 3 arcs, and this isn't a spoiler because this is an old fucking book. If you don't know how the fuck The Hobbit rolls, you're dumb. Even if you've seen the movie,
Go pick up a book.
I can't believe you wouldn't see this coming. In the first book was the traveling. I assumed that. The second book is the dragon and his death. Come on, guys. And the third book, I figured, would be the battle. Because there's a bunch of fucking armies that show up and fight. And there's a lot of killing and death. And it's going to red wedding the motherfucking shit out of you guys. But it's, it was really, really good. And I assumed that would be the 3 splits. And,
No,
it splits in the middle of the action.
That's so terrible, though.
Which means the third movie is going to be dragon and armies.
Army.
Instead of splitting it, what made sense to me to be the 3 split points. But I mean, they stretched the ever-loving shit out of this to get not only 3 movies, but 3 long movies.
Yeah. The first one was 3 hours. Second one's 3 hours. I'm assuming the next one's gonna be 3 or 4 at that.
I wouldn't say
Jesus.
4 is a bit much for people to sit in the theaters. They may actually get in trouble for that. Like, other people will go see it because they don't want to sit for 4 hours.
You gotta realize that there's a movie out there that's 6 hours long.
Yeah, no, I know. There are long movies. There's just not AAA movies that are usually that long. It will be much like Lord of the Rings. It will be another 3-hour movie. When they release everything as a box set with extended collectors, there'll be like...
It'll be another footage. Not a 12-hour thing, probably.
To sit down and watch all of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be at least 12 hours. It'll probably be like 13. And then you'll see the... that'll just be the extended cut. And then you'll see the deleted scenes in the director's version. And if you put everything together, you're probably going to have over 24 hours of solid footage.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm most likely going to buy both Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit because I haven't bought Lord of the Rings yet.
This is the reason why I don't watch Lord of the Rings.
I don't have to because I'm friends with Brandon. Not this one, but the other one. His dad owns like the premier hobby shop in a city near us. And he's
gonna say, what the fuck are you on?
He's such a hardcore fucking nerd that in their house they have a map of Middle Earth on the wall that's inlaid with gold.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Actually.
That's awesome.
Every friend I know that's seen it has paused and stared at it. I've watched their jaw drop and they've been like, must have. And he's explained the price and they've been like, we'll never have.
A little bit of a detour. I saw the best leggings the other day. It's a map of Middle Earth, and Mordor is right in the crotch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've seen a picture of that, and it's Bilbo Baggins running. I'm going on an adventure.
What the fuck?
It was the best pair I've ever seen. It was like some Asian chick that didn't speak English though, so it was a little bit depressing. But
Don't even know what model is.
she had no idea what it is.
Anyway,
Yeah, sorry.
God damn
I
it.
don't know why you laugh at me. Let's
God damn
probably,
it.
I saw Aaron. I'm in for your people. Can we we should probably call this to a close unless anyone has anything else they want to talk about.
I'm good.
Yeah, why are you so racist?
Why am I so racist? Have you seen Aaron lately? He's like a 5'1" fat Asian kid. How could I not be?
It's so funny. You're trying to piss me off, aren't you? You're trying to piss me off, aren't you? Just to kind of end the stream on a high note. Yeah, I see what you're doing, you little prick.
Well, if anyone's even watched this far, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm done. I don't know about you guys. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good. Well, I want to
Tell
kick
you
you in
what.
the face, but I'm good.
Just to test, first person to comment that they've watched this far, put frog in your comment, and I'll give you a copy of War of the Vikings.
Oh my god.
No, it
Just
should be
name a frog.
something relevant to what happened on Friday. Scootly doo.
Scoot scootaloo! Alright, scootaloo.
Fuck.
Scootaloo. If you've seen the ending, Scootaloo in the comments.
Okay, yeah, no, that's all on you guys. Find us to claim this. Just come to the Twitch and tell Brandon that you've commented and give.
ShakeDeSnake on Steam or add me and tell me your name on YouTube.
I'll get a hold of you in the comment section. We'll figure this out.
Yep, sounds good.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening to our crap. We promise that we'll get better. I'm trying to hopefully get better here when we go over to the stream version next week. Ooh, that'll be cool. And it'll all make a shit ton easier for me, too. But yeah, thank you guys very, very much for watching. Do please comment, do the whole subby thingy, and come to the Twitch and hang out with us. Those are all very appreciated. And we'll see you guys next week on Twitch. It'll be great.
Oh, hey, Jared, before you close the podcast,
Yes.
suck my dick.
What dick?
That's gonna take some
It's funny. Fuck you.
It's funny. It's very, very funny. You're so
5 viewers.
not fat. Good day, people. We are leaving.
Later.